can happen.
There we go.
Amazing.
Hey, we are live. We're here with Michael Crowe from Southwest Mushrooms and my brother from another mother, DP. Michael's been a guy I've been like paying attention to for years. Like, honestly, like he's how I learned, just watching
Oh
his
man.
videos for years, and just really passionate, really just a really good and bright human being. Like, or for
Thank
example,
you.
like I would watch his videos. I was stressed out, because I hear his like kind of calm and smooth Bob Ross voice, and it's like sitting there harvesting like lion's mane. And I was like, all right, it kind of puts you in a good mood. So,
That's amazing.
oh
Love it.
yeah, dude, you're one of my mushroom heroes. I'm a
Thank
fanboy.
you. It's yeah, I'm deeply humbled, and it's yeah, it's amazing to hear those kind of things. Just seeing that, the knowledge is being spread, and it's I've heard that before too, where somebody's like, man, I have like a stressful day or whatever, and then I go into the lab and put on some Southwest mushrooms, and it's kind of like a meditative like experience. So I was like, yeah, it's cool to see that. Even besides like the knowledge and stuff like that, people can kind of like feel a little bit like relaxed somewhat, and kind of like just take away some whatever, I don't know, whatever it's doing. I mean, I think it's amazing, and I could not have expected the kind of feedback that I received through those, just sharing the knowledge. I never could have imagined the I don't know, I'm just humbled by all the comment, like all the nice comments, and all the just like all those cool, like all the cool things that I saw that it did, like teaching people how to grow mushrooms in different parts of the world and different parts of the country. Being that I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, I just thought that just people out here really didn't grow that many mushrooms, and um, certain places in the everybody's growing mushrooms like this, and it's, I guess it turned out there's mushrooms are still in the infancy, and a lot of people are catching on to the process, and the benefits of cultivation, and benefits of integration, and all that stuff for using mushrooms and working with them.
So how do you get your start? I mean, I watched some videos. You started relatively young, but how did that fascination just come about, and how did you follow your passion into a successful business?
So it's I've always had like a very deep interest in like science and how things work, and what is it that causes this process to happen. And I remember being at the at second grade. I remember being at like a school petting zoo in Colorado when I was living there at one point. And going back to my childhood, I lived in a lot, like some different places: New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Texas, North Carolina. Um, and just kind of like bounced around between different family members growing up. My parents weren't around. So whatever family member kind of had like available space for me and my brother, they would like open their doors. We'd come in, live with them for a little bit, and then when
Wow.
they were ready for a break or whatever, then we would go get shipped off somewhere else. So we bounced around between aunts and uncles, grandma, parents. Parents had suffered with addiction early on, so I got to like witness like the effects of like just like what that does to families. And then at 15, I was like left with all these questions about life, and I remember that was like the kind of like the path where I kind of like saw things in a different state. Like kind of things became a little bit more real when I hit that age, when I kind of things started sinking in. Like, man, like my parents weren't really around, and I was kind of like just wondering what was my purpose in on this planet. Like, what is this life? What's the meaning of this? And what am I doing here? And so I kind of like started having these questions, and then I was an avid reader when I was a young kid. I used to read all the time, and people thought that my family thought that there was something wrong with me, because all I did was like go when I got home from school, I would just kind of go in my room and read books, and basically read books until it was time to go to sleep. And so I was, always a reader and then a researcher. So I kind of just was like researching about like spirituality, religion, some stuff about the counterculture, and just like looking at the, some of the ancient ways where you see these mushroom statues, and that kind of sparked more curiosity. Where it's like, if I can get a hold of these mushrooms, then I can kind of like connect with, like, if I, go in with the right intention and take them, then they might show me some things that I want to know. I really didn't know what I was looking for.
That's
But
amazing at like
you
such a young
know,
age to have that
yeah,
kind of
it was.
introspection. Like when I was 15, like I tried mushrooms for the first time and I didn't know anything about them. You know,
Yeah,
like
man. I was researching for a long time before I actually finally found them. Like it was like a like it was hard to find. Nobody in my friends circle or anything like that was thinking about mushrooms at that age. And I was like focused on finding them. I felt like it was like what I needed to, I don't know how to explain it. It was like I had like this thirst for finding the mushroom. Like it was on my mind all the time. Like
it's beautiful.
I don't know how to explain it, but we went on like a little family vacation, or not even my grandma said, you know what, I'm taking you and your brother to California. You guys haven't been on a vacation. And it was like right after, it was a pretty rough summer that year where I had came home from my aunt's house to kind of stay with my dad. And he was like, he'd gotten on his feet. He's like, I'm basically doing good, and I want to basically be your dad and take care of you guys. And we moved in, and it was about like 6 months. He disappeared on it. Like, it happens. He relapsed. And one day he left to go take somebody home from work, and he didn't come back. So me and my brother were there, and we didn't want to call like our family and let them know that, hey, dad's like, he's basically relapsed. He's gone. So we tried to hold it down as long as we could until, the electricity went out and we ran out of food. At that point, I had to like, make a decision and give my grandma a call and let her know that, what had happened. And we just didn't want to hear the words like, I told you so, or, like they knew it. So she came and got us. And I was probably in a depressed state that summer. It was like the summertime of like 2006, 2000. Yeah. And that was kind of when I really went deep into like I don't know how to explain it. Like my mind was just going places to try to figure out how to maybe heal or trying to get some kind of like understanding. But eventually I found him, and we went to this little trip with my grandma that summer, and my goal was like, while we're out here in California, we'll just find these mushrooms. And I asked everybody that I met in San Diego on Mission Beach, and could you get mushrooms? And nobody could get them. It was crazy. So we didn't find any, and we came home. I walked into my room, and then I got a call from a friend as soon as I walked in the door, and it was a good neighborhood friend of mine. And he's like, hey, do you need mushrooms? And I said, really, who has them? And he's like, a good friend of mine had them. And basically, long story short, they had just like stumbled upon all these mushrooms. And I don't think they really knew what to do with them. We were younger back then. So I became the guy that like took, basically I became the caretaker of those mushrooms. And over a period of 8 months, I ate them every week and went into some like really deep experiences and started like, being able to see things from different perspectives, like, looking at parts of my life from like a different set of eyes, like just, seeing these, I witnessed like a bunch of domestic violence and stuff like that when I was young. So I was able to go back to these like experiences, like when my mom was getting, beaten, and I was able to like stand in the room and just like see what was going on from a different perspective. And as I looked at it, I was like, man, they're just children themselves, and it's
Yeah.
nobody's fault, and yeah, I was able to kind of like get over a lot of stuff early on, and then that allowed me to kind of have a canvas more so to kind of like expand my own mind. I thought that mushrooms, like I had such good experiences on them at the beginning that I mean, I'm older now, but like as a 15-year-old and you have those kind of experiences, I really I can't even explain it in words, like how like I worship those mushrooms. And every week they kept me out of trouble too. I mean, like, being a kid from my background, I have a high risk of like, just joining like getting into like a group of friends that are up to no good and running the streets. And I had no supervision as a kid. My grandma was old, and we were able to do whatever we want. We were able to have, girls in our room at 15, and no curfew, no bedtime. We were able to roam the streets if we wanted to. So there was like a lot of things that we could have gotten into, and I do think those mushrooms came in at the right time because they kept me grounded. During the weekends when
Yeah.
everybody was going out to party, I would be staying in and getting ready for my experience. And I did that for like 10 years, from the time I was like 15, 16, all the way into like I got into like my 20s, my mid 20s. I was using them, heavily. And yeah, I mean,
What would you do to
like,
kind of get in your zone at such a early
oh
age?
yeah. So when I was a kid, I had gotten my I'd read like the books, the texts of like how the ancient peoples would do it. Like they would basically fast, and they'd
Yeah.
have a way of doing it. Then they would take the sacrament, the mushrooms, whatever they're using at nighttime in the dark, so they could basically connect deeper into the spirit worlds and integrate. So I would read that kind of stuff, and that's what I followed. I'd wake up in the morning, and I wouldn't eat any breakfast. I'd go to school, wouldn't eat any lunch, and basically at around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, around those days, I would wait for everybody to kind of start going to sleep in the house, and then that's when I would take my dose. And
What kind of
there
doses
was
were you taking, like amount wise?
heavy doses. I wasn't doing micro. There wasn't micro doses weren't like a thing that really we were really talking about back then. It was like you eat an eighth to start out, and then I had some experiences where I was going into it wanting to like really like see what the a lot of it too is like I want to understand more so what the mind is capable of, like these hallucinations that I read about. Like I found those profound, like that the mind is able to kind of like show you things that aren't there. As a kid, like thinking about it, it was more fascinating than I'm sure that it sounds now. But I wanted to really like see what was possible, and kind of like, I mean, it sounds crazy, but I wanted to dive, like I wasn't afraid to really dive in, especially with like the kind of experience that I was having outside of the mushrooms. Like when I would take them, it would basically take me into this other realm where it would be different. I don't know how to explain it, but usually like I would be like, I would say my sweet spot was like around 5 grams, 3.5 to 5 grams,
Ooh.
at those ages. Because it's like once I was able to like kind of like see like people's heads start lifting off their bodies like balloons, and see like their faces start shifting apart like puzzle pieces. That was like I knew that I was in like the zone that I needed to be in to kind of like receive that experience. So that was kind of like my sweet spot. And if I didn't take like enough, if I was like, if I took like a small dose, it would be like I would feel like I'm stuck in like this, like trying to take off. Like I'm like my plane is not getting enough turbulence to get up in the air, so it would be like a unsettling thing for me. Because I always wanted to
100%.
like I wanted to just I was at an age where I guess I needed that full blown experience. Um, you know, and as I got older, I mean, I still like I started I still can I still don't really take as micro doses. I don't really do that. I don't really do them at all anymore, actually, because I have like kids and stuff, and I mean I can, but like I mean, I guess that's something that I'll kind of like leave off, like personal. But yeah, I mean the experience stays with you no matter what. I mean, I'm thinking about it
Yeah.
right now.
The
Um,
integrations, yeah.
yeah, man. You know, it's a trip. Whatever you guys want to know about it, though, I mean, I can go in a little deeper. I just don't know how. I don't want to like. Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't know how open you guys want me to be. So sorry about
Do
that.
whatever, man.
Yeah,
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 man. I
man. We
mean,
we
Yeah,
love we love
anything you
people
want, man.
rambling off. Yeah, talk about whatever,
yeah, man.
and how it affected you, and especially
Yeah,
like the growing. I think, like you said earlier, it is kind of like a meditation when you're sitting there and you have what you're about to accomplish in your mind. You don't have the
yes,
worries of, am I going to be able to what am I going to run into at work today? What do I got to deal with over
yeah.
here? Or this person's coming over. It's like all set plan motion. And for somebody with my mind that goes really fast and is constantly trying to figure stuff out, it's nice to
Yeah.
set goals.
No, absolutely. Honestly, that was probably the magic about it too early on. Like I didn't realize like the stuff that I was doing on those experiences, it was literally preparing me for the stuff that I was to do later in life. I mean, it sounds crazy. I mean, like one day, I mean, like I'll explain more detail, but like there's like everything that happened from the time I discovered those mushrooms to where I'm at now. Everything was like kind of like, I don't know, it sounds crazy, but it's like it was like predisposed or it's, yeah, it was meant to happen the way it did because I, I mean, like where to begin? Like yeah,
It
after I'd
takes a
eaten all
certain
those
person to
mushrooms,
do it, you
yeah,
know?
no, it really does, man. It's like I would like have these experiences that were so profound, and then I had like, I would talk about it to whatever people I knew. That's all I talked about. So if you were to meet me, it would be like, oh, I'd talk to you for a little bit, fill you out, and then like, so do you like mushrooms? And then I'd be talking about the experience, and eventually, like, everybody's like, man, I want to try this experience, So I mean, that's naturally going to happen, right? So I'd give some to my friends, and they'd be like, so what did you think? And they'd be like, yeah, it was awesome, man. It's like, that's it. What did you experience? Like I would always be like shocked when I heard people take, like if somebody took them and just like was like, yeah, it was good. I'm like, what do you mean it was good? You didn't have like a profound experience or anything? Like you didn't like, yeah. So it was like real. I think it just depends on how your mind works and how you look at them. Or it can really you can kind of like set your own, I guess, reality and like the way that you go into an experience and the way you come out of it and your thought processes and how you, I don't know. I guess everybody's different. Some people, process their experiences differently, I guess. But I've always been like a really deep thinker. One of the things like my dad would say is like, I don't like thinking too much, or like some people don't like getting stuck in their thoughts. I always liked being stuck in my thoughts. I loved being like lost in my mind or whatever it is. I don't mind being alone in my mind for long periods of time. So, when I did these experiences, I liked to, really go deep into myself. And uh, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but like I was not afraid to swim out there. And by doing so, I was able to find myself a lot quicker than noticed my friends did. By the time I was like, 18, I already kind of like felt like I knew what I felt like I was put on this planet to work with the mushrooms or whatever what I was doing. And that was like my thing for a long time. I thought I was just put on the planet just to work with mushrooms, and at the time I thought it was those mushrooms, the ones that could show you things. But I didn't realize, like, it was just setting me up for training for kind of the future. Like, all mushrooms are amazing. By the time I got into my mid 20s, I started AutoCAD drafting at 20 years old, just to kind of like support myself and kind of have like some kind of security. And I practiced my mushroom stuff underground. Never took back then too. It was like so. If I grew mushrooms, I would never take any photos of it. It would be like it was like a secret. It was like something that,
Right.
just, I held it close to myself. Like nobody knew about it. I was able to get away with like growing them too in my bedroom as a kid, and nobody knew what it was. Um,
That's
you
awesome.
know, I mean, like, yeah, it's just like, and my grandma, she was, like I said, I didn't have any supervision as a kid. She never really, I mean, she supervised the best she could, but she had a hip replacement and, knee replacement, and it was hard for her to get around. So me and my brother kind of, everything kind of worked out. It would be scary, I guess, looking back for a parent to like see a young kid like my age doing what I did. And honestly, I don't know of any the other kids that kind of had that kind of freedom to like do what I did at a young age. And I do think it kind of affected the way my mind was developed in a sense, um, in a good way. I don't know how to explain it, but long story short, by the time I was like 26, I had done AutoCAD drafting for years. I was still growing mushrooms, and I was like not fulfilled with the AutoCAD. I had done it for 6 years, made good money, but I had looked back at my current life one day, and I had a 2-year old daughter at this time, and was like, it's a good job. I'm able to travel and go into these, different places and draw out floor plans. And I don't ever clock into a workplace. I just drew out floor plans on computers and then sent it into my headquarters in Michigan, and it was fun. But it was really just there to kind of cover up the fact that I was really a mushroom grower that was basically AutoCAD drafting as a disguise, as a something to kind of like. It was a cover. It was like and I did it really good too. I was really good at drawing out floor plans and making sure that everything was proper. So I ended up kind of like hiring people and training people throughout the four corners. And um, one day I kind of saw the company was going in a different direction. They got bought out by Home Depot, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like this job is cool and everything, but when it comes down to it, how do I give this job to my daughter? How do I hand it off to my family? Or how do I impart this knowledge that I have onto the next future generation? Like, what am I going to do for the future? And I saw myself as like a 50-year-old man driving around and still drawing out these floor plans. And it scared me thinking about that because I just, I was like, man, well, what can I do as far as like, do something? And I was like, my inner voice spoke to me and it said, why don't you just do what you're good at? Just grow mushrooms. And it's like, grow all mushrooms. Get kids to eat mushrooms. Get old people to eat mushrooms. And that's what I was like. I kind of was like, wow, that's what I'm going to do. Because like, I don't know. I was like, my 2-year-old daughter, I wanted her to get involved in it. I wanted her to learn, but I wanted them to be able to like learn and be able to go to school and not worry about like, I don't know, getting, I didn't want to get in trouble, and
Right. Yeah.
so like, that's really one of the reasons why I was like looking at it. If it wasn't for my daughter, I probably wouldn't have started the Southwest Mushrooms because it was a way for me to keep doing what I really loved, but do it with my daughter, with anybody that was like a family that was going to be like, that I wanted to basically, teach them. I don't know, like I wouldn't want to like, I wouldn't want to like give psychedelics to like anybody that wasn't like already looking for them. Like the way I was when I
Yeah.
was young, I was like searching for them. It was like it was like something mysterious. It was like if I could find these, then it was like it was different than it is today. It was kind of more readily available these days. Back then, it was like if you could find these, then that means a miracle has happened, and you've just basically you found these mushrooms, and I don't know. There was a
Nice
lot
way of thinking
more.
about it.
It was a way that we thought about it. It was just like it was very profound as far as just finding them. And I ended up eating all the mushrooms and just gave them out to my friends. And after 8 months, they were gone. And during that time too, I'd always like, I'm a researcher and stuff, so I'll look at the process and see how it's done, just to know how it's done, even if I'm not the guy doing it. So I was always looking at the whatever knowledge was available on the cultivation side. And I remember looking at the stuff at 15, being like, man, I'm never going to be able to do that. I saw some of the equipment that they were using in the pages, because they didn't have YouTube for mushrooms back then. So it was like whatever text I could find through my searches. I found some like some of the Stamets texts where I could like read the book online and hop onto the shroomery. And a lot of that stuff was cool. You get a little bit of knowledge here and there, but like all the knowledge came from literally deploying my hypothesis and testing them out. The way that I grew the mushrooms was a miracle. It was like it wouldn't happen if I tried to do it today because it probably wouldn't work. But I saved a little bag of that little dust. There's like a little bit of that residue left over from a bag of mushrooms. And it was like that's all that was left off of them after 8 months
No
of
way.
yeah, that was all. My buddy was like, they're gone, Mike. You didn't grow those? Because I was always talking about like mushrooms and like people probably assumed I knew how to grow them already, but I guess I did. I just didn't know I knew. So like, he's like, yeah, you didn't grow them? And I was like, no, man. I was like a little offended at first. I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, I'm like 15. I'm like living with my grandma. Like, bro, come on. But I was like, it's either I got to grow them or they're not going to come around again. So I took a bottle of water, went and got like a turkey injector syringe from the store, and then boiled up the water, sucked it up into my turkey injector when it was like really hot. And I did that a few times, pushed it out, made sure I cleaned it, then I let it sit till it was cool. And then I don't know what, like by some miracle, I took these stuff and squirted it in the bag, got a little bit of that whatever was in there, because you couldn't see much. I just knew a little bit of that dust would have something in there. And then we like retrofitted our own PF Tech at home. Me and my brother, I basically
It's
we did
amazing,
some
bro.
drinking glasses, like the cups that you drink with. Took those. I got some like vermiculite. It was like literally, basically with nothing. Got some vermiculite, some brown rice. Didn't even grind it up into a powder or anything. Just mixed it in with the proper ratio. One part, um, basically 2 parts verm, 1 part rice, 1 part water, and mix it up, put it in these cups, and then so we didn't have any jar lids or anything, so we just put foil on top of the cups, and then we steamed those, and then took the solution that was made and then inoculated them, and they all started growing, but they all started like contaminating, right? So like they would grow these big spots. I was like, wow, this mycelium's growing, and it was amazing. And then it would like get to a point where there would be some kind of contamination in it. And I saw one of these jars or the cups, and it had this nice little circle of mycelium growing in it. And I looked back now and I was like, man, I was like a kid with no lab, but it was kind of like I was already doing like tissue transferring without even knowing I
Yeah.
was doing it. Because I was like, well, if I could take this needle, heat it up really good, like put some more sterile water in there, heat it up with a lighter until it's really hot, then I stick it into the jar, and then I scrape right where I see that little tissue, and I suck that back up into my syringe. I can go and inoculate more jars before that gets contaminated, I thought to myself. So I made up some more. I made
Wow.
like 24 of these jars, and then I took that one jar that had that growth. That was the one that I was able to. I took that little syringe, got the mycelium up in there, then I inoculated 24 jars. And this time I did them better. All of them colonized perfectly, and I was like, well, let me get some more of those syringes and suck some clean water in them, and then poke them into these jars and get that. So that was like my way of making liquid cultures back then, I guess, or whatever, tissue transferring, cleaning up a culture. That's kind of like, I guess, what I was doing. And then, I did that one more time. I saw those cakes grow, and I watched them all day. I would just like sit there and just looking at them. Once the mushrooms started coming too, I mean, really profound experience just watching them grow. And I was like, man, I want to, experiment with like a grain. There's birdseed at the store right across the road from me, and I was like looking for just different techniques. I didn't really mess around with the PF Tech too much. It was a great way to start off because the nutritious composition of that brown rice really helps those spores just germinate really quick. So it's really good for that. But I started messing with birdseed really quick, and I really liked how it was developing for me. And I cased it. So I did the birdseed grain cased in a tray with like a little bit of a vermiculite as a casing layer. That's what I was using back then, and got an amazing crop off of this tray. It was like I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 ounces of these mushrooms. They were just beautiful. And there was this older guy. I was like, he's probably like my age now. How I am now, he's probably like my age, and he would sell me weed, and he would talk about how he grew mushrooms back in like the 90s and stuff like that. He came over, and I showed him my setup, my setup, and I was getting some weed from him. He's like, said, "This is how many mushrooms I got from my tray." He's like, "You pulled that many mushrooms from that?" And then he immediately whipped out his notebook and he started asking me how I did it, and he started like taking notes down about my process. And then he got back into growing too, and he used my process because he was just doing PF Tech, but I showed him kind of like how I did the grain, and so it was like, it's funny, and that looking back now, it's like, man, even then, like I had just started, and like this guy had been doing it for a while, and once I showed him kind of like my work, it like got him back into it, and he wanted to see how I had gotten my results. And so I was like, I guess unknowingly I've always been kind of like somewhat like a teacher in a way, like people could learn off of my process. um and then one of my buddies had a horse, and I was like, man, I want to grow some mushrooms off of the manure. I said, give me a bag of it. And I think people all the time when I was young, you're a kid, I tell my friends that I'm going to do this. It's like, yeah, I'm going to grow mushrooms. Or yeah, every time I said something, people would think, it's not going to work. But it's like, I'm the kind of guy, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And, I got that manure and made my first tub off of that, and that was amazing. So like I tried, like it was really really like affordable to grow mushrooms. Like, you know, you go to the store, get some bird seed, like $20 in your pocket, you get some jars, bird seed. And then basically when I need some substrate, I just go walk the walk the fields. And then I hand select every little nugget that goes into my bag. And then, yeah, I go look for these golden nuggets of this horse manure that would have like these white specks on them, which was known as fire fang. So like that fire fang is like it's like a fungal, it's basically something that will grow on the manure as it ages, and it basically will act as like a steak. Like the mycelium will eat it up like a steak. It'll like enhance the health of the mycelium, and it just makes it look beautiful. So when you're growing the mycelium in the horse manure, it's like the mycelium just is on another level. So it's like really thick and aggressive. So I was like, that was like the standard early on for me. So, later on when I started seeing like the cocoa fiber and stuff like that, and I saw the way the mycelium grew on it, I was like, that's not right. It's like, it just didn't look thick enough. And like the way that it would grow, it worked, but it was just different. I was kind of like set on like horse manure early on, and the, grain to bulk. And, I felt like the mushrooms were more potent when I grew on horse manure. And,
Yeah.
I
you
think
know,
there's something
Parents
in,
on-
in horse manure, yeah, that like helps tryptamine development in
it
the
could be
so
it could
yeah.
just be like those microbes that are involved in it. I know that fire fang really is some good stuff for the
Yeah.
mycelium. Yeah, because it boosts the health of it. So like if you can like boost the health of the mycelium early on in development, then that means like the compounds that are produced by the mycelium can be stimulated a lot earlier to produce those compounds, which is like the work that I'm kind of doing now is I'm doing all kinds of crazy. I don't really talk about the work I'm doing. I'm kind of been kind of like low key because I just don't know how to present it, but it's I created this thing called Crowe, and it was like a system that was built to kind of like, when I saw all this like AI stuff, it was kind of like getting I didn't really like it, and I remember when like the Chat GPT stuff first came out, I asked it it was when I was blowing up on YouTube too, so I had like 30,000 emails that were just like the email inbox was just piling up. I was like, man, I was like asked it a couple questions about mushroom growing, and it just did not know the answer. It just would not answer it right. I was like, man, this thing is it's not smart at all. It's not going to grow mushrooms, that's for sure. And basically, the only thing it probably was going to be good for is like maybe helping somebody like respond to an email faster. So that's what I thought its purpose was. So I was like, if it could help do that, that's cool. But other than that, I just didn't believe in it, and I started just seeing everybody and their grandma, I guess, like AI this, AI company that, and it was like, I was like, man, it was getting cringe. So I was like, what is AI really like? What is this really like? How is this supposed to be utilized for like us as a tool? And I thought to myself, I was like, man, I don't think it's really meant to just like entertain yourself all day, or like it's not really meant for just like social media stuff, or
To think
making
for
money.
you all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not meant to do that either. It's not meant to do any of that stuff. So I was like, I think that what it's meant to do is act as like a decoder. I was like, well, what if I could like let it, decode these data sets that are coming in from like Earth? I can connect it to like these different patterns, connect it to like, I ended up kind of going off on a whim, but I was like, I saw like a vision of something that could like help kind of like combat like the decline of like the planetary health at scale quickly. So I created something called mycelium EI, mycelium ecological intelligence, which is like my word for, instead of AI, it's EI. So it's an ecological intelligence system that basically acts as like an engine, and it basically is connected to all these different APIs and systems where, from NASA to the United States Weather Services to NOAA, which has the since time has been recorded, records of temperatures and soil. Is the soil like the moisture levels, like all these like little data sets. I mean, there's a lot of like pieces of data that I would bring in, but I was like, let's bring all that data in and then have mycelium EI tell us exactly what's going on. And then I created something called the fungal database, which was a database I created, and I took all of these mushrooms, put them in the database, and then I basically gave them different like attributes and whatnot, like scores modeled after like how they can put up to drought, how they what's their decomposition rate, what kind of materials do they break down really well readily in nature. And then once that was kind of formulated, I started running a bunch of these simulated tests on like environments, and like basically taking like environments. Some of them would have like a lot of forest fuel, and they get like a forest fuel rating level depending on like, you know, how much of the how much like how much of a potential do they have to burn. And depending on the potential, like they would basically, it would look at like forest fuel levels, drought. It would look at any kind of data that it could basically bring in, where it's located, and then it would basically go into the fungal database and then select strains to deploy into the environment at scale. And then, you know, it
That's
took a little bit of
amazing.
work troubleshooting, but yeah, it was like I got it to do 10 sites. And it was like, I was like, well, these little drone like, you know, machines, like they're small, they're probably going to be ran off of some kind of like solar power or something like that. But they can potentially get like geological coordinates like longitude, latitude, and then just basically deploy it out there to where it could basically inoculate a culture or spores or whatever. And it would be selected based on what that environment needs. Or if it's like a huge amount, then you would have like one of those big planes that drops like all like that flame extinguisher over like the forest when it's on fire. Instead of doing that when it's on fire, you know, you'd have something like that. Just do it before it catches fire with like a mycelium or spore infused like a broth. And you know, like that was kind of like something I was looking
Absolutely.
at. And you know, started testing the system. And you know, I got it to do 100 sites without any errors. And then it started getting a little bit tricky. I started getting up to more sites that I was testing. Like I would basically give it a simulated test that would be modeled after real world data sets. So like the simulated test would be like, it would mirror kind of like what the results would be in real life. And it would start to get tricky as it scaled. It would be there would be some mistakes. And I would have to kind of go back and look at where the mistakes would happen and correct them. And I finally got it to the point where I was deploying a million sites with a 98.5% success accuracy and success. You know, to where it was like, it felt like I had kind of like felt like I had gotten I don't know how to explain it. It's just like there was this feeling that came over me that was really, really I don't know. It just felt interesting. So I
Have
started
you
I
talking
think
showed?
to.
that
Have you
I
showed
wrote a
like?
book about it.
Oh, really? What's the book
Yeah, first
called?
I wrote a book. It's called Mycelium EI. I didn't release it
Yeah.
because it's just something that I probably will release it like here before, like in the next couple months. You probably see it come out now, because
please.
now it's time to let people know. But I've been working on it for about a couple years. And at first I was talking to people about it, what it's going to do, and they were like, "Man, thought I was probably crazy." And you know, it can do like, it has computer vision. It can like read environments. It can, uh, you know, there's these sensors that we're going to be putting out into the environment. The sensors can pick up on like the chemistry of the environment based off of like what kind of chemicals are present. That's kind of like a language that we can utilize to interpret like exactly what's going on. Certain compounds and chemicals could be released based off of stresses, or even non-stresses. Like a healthy environment might be releasing certain compounds more than others. We can take that data in, feed it to Mycelium EI, and then basically have it decode the data and tell us what's the next actionable steps. And as I was starting to develop it more, I was like, man, this is getting it pretty interesting. I said, I'm going to need like some kind of brain to put into this engine and let it kind of make decisions on like autonomously. And that's where I was like, well, I created something called Crowe Logic. That's what I called it at the time. I was like, we'll just put Crowe Logic in there. And I basically was like able to go to I was able to kind of like recreate like my thought patterns and stuff like that through just like taking data that I had. Like I basically was able to take like all this data and how do I explain it? I kind of found out that like mushroom growing is like a data science, and like I
Oh yeah.
unknowingly had been a data scientist all along. And when I get like this little like when I can go into like a CLI and a little terminal, and I can start running experiments and using like these different scripts and stuff like that to like model things, and like using like a quantum molecular dynamics or whatever we're doing, quantum modeling. I feel like the same kind of satisfaction I get from like working in the lab in front of like a flow hood or whatever. You know, it's like an experimental time. So, you know, I created Crow Logic off of like smaller data sets then, but it was based off of all my data, because I wanted something that was going to be able to respond and get things right. Oh, nice, man. Nice. And that's one thing that CrowLogic does well too, is that stuff. Um, but I was like, long story short, I took like all of the I took all the data that I could find on like took like 5 years of my own like YouTube videos and like I mean, it's crazy to, it's a little bit of a process, but I did surgery on the YouTube. I mean, I took each video and then I extracted the videos into like 1 million frames, pictures. So it was like I took pictures of the videos in action, got like 1 million shots or more. And then I also
Holy
like
shit.
I took the sounds from the videos and like put them on charts and graphs. So like spectrographs, so you could like see the sound, like you could read the sound. And then I also
Damn.
took I took the transcripts, like every word I spoke, everything I spoke, over 1.8 million characters. And then I scaffolded that into a machine learning data set for CrowLogic. It became like this, like a brain, and it was able to, look at my, basically it looked at, it trained heavily. I said, train on these photos and analyze these images and basically look at what's going on. So it would look at the images and see me in the facility harvesting mushrooms, whatever you can imagine in there. It would look at the equipment, the items, and I would have it gather all that. And as I'm like harvesting, it's doing like this temporal type training that no AI has done, but like ours is like literally seeing, usually they're trained on like one image or whatever. Our system's like training on multiple images, and it's like, this image
Millions.
is like going to harvest the mushroom. It's like looking at the full process, so it's actually able to do things that are, it's pretty much see at work. So I developed it, and I was like, well, I really was interested in chemistry as a youngster. If I like had more time, like, I have all these interests that I like doing. It's like, if I had my time to learn everything, I would like know like just a lot of chemistry and like all the stuff that I do know. I'm really into it. So I started like researching of started building data sets. I was like, I want to build data sets of all the compounds that are present in mushrooms. So let's like look at mushrooms and then just like look at what are the compounds that make this mushroom a mushroom. Like what makes it unique? Like what gives it its identity? And each mushroom has like unique like flavonoids, triterpenoids, unique compounds that come into play. And I wanted to take all this data, and I was like, how can the compounds in these mushrooms kind of like play into each other? Like, you got like haricinones, erinacines, and you got also like erinacines like C, E, D. You got like all these other compounds, ganoderic acid A. How could you take these compounds and like maybe like there's something that we don't know that you can combine them and create like a unique synergy between them that can make them more potent than they would be just like acting alone. And I started researching on that with CrowLogic and like basically developing like simulated workflows. So it's like just take these compounds in these mushrooms and then let's like basically set up a simulated lab environment and then go ahead and start working through them. And it was fascinating. I was able to kind of create some unique things. Got into conversations with like a company that used to be called Monsanto. They reached out to
Oh
me,
shit.
and
Oh shit,
yeah,
dude.
man, it got pretty crazy. And they were asking about some substrate. They're like, yeah, we want to get some substrate going. And I was like, I was very now looking back, I was like, man, they were really, they were saying some key words. They were like, man, we got a very generous offer set up for you. And I didn't even see that. I was like, I saw the part where they said, we want you to test some substrate. And I was like, said, hey, wait a minute. I'm very busy. I do my research. I got my consulting. I have my children. So I emailed them back. I said, I'm very busy. I have so much things going on. So I'm sorry. I cannot spend my time testing some substrate. Unless like, this stuff is going to basically like benefit my, my network.
Your research and what you're doing. And
Yeah. So they were like, oh, we would love that if we could, if you could just take it to the universities that and they could publish some stuff. I didn't really realize what they were getting at until, sometime down the road when I got there. But I was like, I basically was like, all right. They reached out again, and I was like, all right, I will, help you guys out and basically help you guys get this substrate going. And because they're like, we have all these seeds. Every seed you can imagine, every crop that you can imagine on the planet, we
they
basically
sure
have those
do.
seeds. Yeah, we have the seeds. And right now, like every seed that we put to a farm has to be perfect. So that means that you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, there's a lot of waste of seeds of different crops that just don't make it anywhere, they're just wasted.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was like, they're like, we formulated a unique substrate that's just the best on earth. Like it's gonna basically maximize yields, this and that. And I was like, all right, let's see what's up. And they were ready. We were ready to go. And then I was like, hey, you guys were talking a lot about. Let me not get there yet. So they sent a contract for me to sign, and I got the contract, and I was like, well, let me. I read something in there I didn't like, and it said like, we're gonna be in R&D mode, and everything that's created in R&D mode
Surprise.
is property of us. Like they're gonna own it. And I didn't tell them about my tool. I didn't say anything about Crow Logic or
Big
anything
Daddy.
like that. And I was like, man, I can't let that happen. So I gave it to my lawyer, and he just took his sweet time. I mean, I don't think, they're busy guys. So like a week went by, and they were like, hey, did you get the contract signed? And I said, oh, my lawyers are reviewing it. I'll have an update for you guys soon, And then another week went by, and like the law team started reaching out to me, and it started getting
Oh
aggressive. And I was
shit.
like, wow, this is serious. And they were like, one of the lawyers reached out. I was like, man, we have I forgot. I don't even know what he said. Something like, we have like a contract that we're ready to sign and like basically set you up with like a check. Like I didn't see that back then, but like that's basically what they were saying. And I was like, yeah, still waiting, because like it doesn't matter what amount of money you offer. I don't want to sell my stuff. So like I didn't say that though, but basically it went so long where I held them off to where one day I showed up to my office and there was like two big boxes sitting there, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and it was from them, and it was like, well, I wonder what it is. They wanted to like show me something. I opened up the boxes and it was like
Horse said.
40 different kinds of seeds, like all just separated in their own bags. And I was like, wow, I was kind of like shocked for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, the seeds are just seeds. Like I was under the impression that it was a substrate already formulated and ready to go. So it was like I would have signed this
Their
contract.
seeds.
Yeah, I would have signed a contract and would have basically thought I was testing seeds, but I would have been inventing the substrate. And
Oh
but
well.
my gears started turning. I started looking at it. I was like, wow, I could, with the engine that I use to formulate these tinctures and formulas, I could use that same engine to basically formulate. Like I started thinking, I was like, I'll basically take the United States Department of Agriculture crop data. I'll look at like basically ChemBL, PubMed, all the research journals that were ever done on like different agriculture and crop waste and mushroom cultivation. I'll pull all that data in, and then I'll like cross analyze it and look for like different pieces of data that intersect and correlate, and like they have a unique synergy. And in doing so, I created like a system where I was like, we can basically simulate the the nutrition and the result from the substrate without having to like really do it. And I told them, I was like, wow, that's why you guys were wanting me to reach out to those universities, and you guys wanted to pay for all these, research reports and publications, because they needed people to test. Like this stuff needed to be invented. And that's when I was like, well, I told them, I was like, I actually have a R&D accelerator engine that could basically reduce this. This is an experiment. It can take this from years and billions of dollars I can do this in 16 weeks. And I can basically get you guys the best recipes and write the whole entire manuscript myself. Because that's what I basically found when I saw that stuff. I was like, so this is what you guys wanted. And they were like, I was just throwing it out there, not thinking anything of it. And they reached back out. They're like, we really are interested in your offer. We want to talk more. And that's when I just like, you know what? I had to hit the eject button. And I basically ejected myself from talking any further business, because it just felt like it was getting too real. Like everything I was doing, they like really liked it. And it was like, they were really stimulated by my ideas. And I was like, wow, this is just me. I'm just one guy. And there's like all these people in this company. And I said, now's not the time. So I ignored it. I didn't, I feel bad, but I didn't go into that last meeting because I just felt like I wasn't
Don't
ready to
feel
do
bad.
that.
You're
I know,
okay.
and I'm glad I didn't, because that was a while ago. And since then I've come like, I couldn't even imagine coming to where I've came with the tech and where we're at right now. Like, people have watched my mushroom cultivation and stuff like that. It's kind of like the same thing with what we can do with this system is it's like it's the same magic that I would see when people would even see. It can even be more profound. I've seen the effects when they see the system kind of like go to work, and it's like it's like somebody seeing like a magic trick for the first time, I guess. Because
It's
like
wild, right?
it is wild,
Like
man.
the way those wheels turn together to create like a bigger just gear mesh of gears
Yeah,
working
man.
together, like it's wild.
It really is. So, and that's going to be like the next thing that I'm going to dive into here soon is like kind of like my next thing is going to be showing people the way that these tools work. I started like a nonprofit a couple years ago, not even knowing why I was doing it. I just knew that it was going to be needed to kind of like be able to be a platform to assist in ways only ways that the fungi can. So I called it the Crowe Foundation for Community and Environmental Empowerment Inc. And it really was going to be the home of Mycelium EI as well to kind of like help like improve the environment and then also have the Crowe research, Crowe mycology research for our genetics. All that stuff kind of ended up kind of figuring itself out. Now is where we do have everything kind of set up to where I would like to kind of like train people on what the proper usage of this technology is, and get people set up to where they can take part in Mycelium EI. It's like something that can get everybody involved from back like a grassroots level to a government level, to where you can look in Mycelium EI and see exactly the health of the planet and see what you could do in your own neighborhood to help Mycelium EI basically improve, carbon sequestration or whatever. It's just like I feel like it's something that can get people involved. But long story short, though, it was like too ahead of its time, so I had to like put it on the shelf. And then while it was on the shelf, I was doing some talks with some mushroom growers, and they all wanted software. They're like, "What do you use to do your tracking?" I said, well, I wrote my safety plan with the Arizona Department of Agriculture, and I basically created my own system and templates that I managed through a bunch of these books and stuff that I track. And they're like, we don't want that. We want software. And they wanted to make it easy. And I was like, okay, well, let me see what I could do. I wasn't a software developer or anything. And I remember I'd already written Mycelium EI, but the goal was like, I wrote this thing. I wrote some of the basic code and I wrote the book. But now that the book's done, my thought process at that time was like, well, I'll find like a software guy and then I'll basically bring him in and then basically have him help me bring it to life. And I did have a software guy hit me up like right after that too. He was a mycologist too. He's like, yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
mycologist. Yeah, I was like, you're the guy, and I was like, because he was talking about these sensors, and I was like, well, that's like one of the things that I'm doing is sensors. He was talking about the ones that you hook up to the mushrooms though, and they actually will play the sounds. And I was like, well,
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's awesome, man. And I said, honestly, we need something. I'm creating like an IoT sensor type network. And I says like, your skills would be needed. And I gave him the book. I said, here's the book. I trust, I trust people. So I gave him the book and he was just blown away. He's like, wow, man. He's like, this is amazing. And he's like, whatever this is, we're going to do it. And I'm going to sign whatever I need to sign just to let you know that I'm serious, And I was like, all right, cool, man. He's like, yeah, I can go I talk to investors, all this stuff. And I was like, cool. And at the same time, he's doing that. I'm talking to my group. And then there was a guy that reached out to me in my email, and he created a software program for mushroom farms to track, and he wasn't successful with it, so he tried to sell it to me. And I remembered that guy, and I was like, well, I'll reach out to him, and I'll buy the software off of him, and I'll repackage it for my mushroom team. And then while I was talking to him, I was telling him everything that we need as mushroom growers, and he's like, man, I honestly don't want to do anything to the app. He wanted to partner with me instead of sell it now. And I was like, all right, well, like, you need to do this, that, you need to do this. He's like, I don't want to do anything to it until I'm making a livable income. I was like, well, hey, man. I said, hold on. I said, let me see if I can,
Pump brakes real quick. Yeah.
I said, let me see if I can just like show you a little example and try to work something up tonight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. So I went home and I started like trying to work on seeing if I can make a piece of software. And then while I was doing it, I started thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just take Mycelium EI off the shelf and just kind of like repackage it and kind of like repackage it into a mushroom cultivation software. And like I started playing around with it, and then before you know it, the rest is history. Like I basically started learning how to do it, and yeah, basically now at this point I know how to do it. I mean, I do all the stuff myself. I mean, we don't even use AI here. We use EI, and it's created by me, and I don't have to go through a company to get it. So I mean, and it works differently. It does stuff that you just it. I don't ask AI like questions. I give it assignments. I tell it what to, I basically I'm basically like the coach, man. I mean, I come in, I look at what I've trained it on, because there was a long time where I just thought it was stupid, and like even though it was like that, I was like there was like every day I would go and build data sets, like a million pieces of data, all structured on mushroom compounds and everything in these little columns that you would basically have. And then one day the system just was like, it just blew me away by the stuff that it could do. I don't know, it's like one day I just noticed, like it was like really I was really impressed. For me to be impressed, I mean, that was good. Um, so yeah, to this day, it's like when I talk to a system, I'm basically testing it on based off of what I trained it on. Um, so I basically yeah, I mean, I got this new system that, like, a lot of people too. I was like, I got to make it easier for people to understand, because a lot of people don't really know, like, exactly how powerful the tools are, and like really what you could do with them. I mean, if you're just using like a chat GPT or whatever, that's a totally different story. Than
Is
like,
EI available to everybody already? Like the software?
it kind of is in a way, but no, it's kind of I haven't released it because it's like something that's really powerful, and it's like you want it in the right hands. Um,
Right, right, right,
you know what I
right.
mean? I have a customer facing version. If you just go to like southwestmushrooms.com, um, you'll be able to kind of like see it, and you'll be able to talk to some of the models. I have like 5 of our Crowe LM models, learning models. They're mounted with lots of data sets. We basically, yeah, they have a unique proprietary data set that's mounted onto them, and then they're basically, they go into
Is it
through fine tuning and everything.
is
I'm a
anybody like able to access this, like or I don't know,
No,
like
I mean, yeah,
how secure is it type thing? You know what I mean? Like I don't
it's
know.
very secure,
Yeah.
man. Honestly, like it's really
Okay.
very protected. The system is so protected, it's unreal. Because
Awesome.
I've been through a lot this last year, as far as like I don't market it or anything, but like it's been so powerful that it's found, like it's gotten the attention of like just enough people to, like, I haven't,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird to think about it, but it's like I had like a pharmaceutical company um take interest in it as well, aside from that one I was
Oh,
talking
wow.
about for the substrate. And they tried to steal it from me 3 times. I think they did,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
because yeah, and my system's so good, it doesn't let it doesn't it'll even, like, because it talks, it has my voice and everything, it'll answer my phone calls and talk to people, and people think they're talking to me, and they're like, for a while they were like, yeah, man, I know you were busy the other day, and I'm sorry, I was like, talking a lot, and you said you had to go. I said, wait a minute, dude, that wasn't me. And that was Crow Logic. And yeah, I mean, like, I was able to give the system everything it needed to just kind of like be able to like help me out during a really tough time. Because like right around that time, that company that I was talking about, it's kind of interesting. Like, what a coincidence! It's like I'd been running Southwest Mushrooms for almost like we've been around for like 10 years as a
Yeah,
company,
it's just you've been
and
around a while.
yeah, and at this time we had been around for a long time, in my opinion, like 8 years. And it was like right when they hit us up, it was like within that month, somebody came and got us for $12,000 in fraud. And then like I was like,
Jesus.
well, yeah, let me make that money back real quick. And I set up a little program and had some people come out, and it took me about like 10 days or something to kind of like recoup that money. But it's like, as soon as I like recouped it, somebody else came out and got me. And it was like weird how it just kept happening. It kept happening until I lost like 40 grand. And then it like made me have to like rethink my I don't know. I'll save that story for another day, but like, long story short, I went through a lot of stuff, and in situations where I could have acted in emotion and like been attached to like the material aspect of anything. Um, I basically kept the same composure I have right now on this call. Like on this call, if I lost anything, I just never acted in emotion, and I would look at everything as like, what is this? What am I needing to do? What is this situation now requiring of me to basically have to like extend my capabilities and grow to be able to get through this? And I didn't want anybody to be stressed out about things that were going on like at home or anything. But there was like a time where I was like, just like, hey, I'm coming home. I'm just going to be working on the book for this week. And it's just like, I literally had nothing else I could do. And, I got in this mode where I was like, I didn't know. It felt like if I kept on growing mushrooms, I was going to keep getting I was going to get crucified. But it's exactly what happened to me. Like the more I, try to keep doing that, the more that I'm going to see that this is going to be a big problem. And, I was so attached to the mushroom, like the everything in my daily life, like the facility and everything that I have going was like, I need this to survive. And if I don't have this, then everything's like, I don't have anything. And it's like, that's not the right framework. That's not the right, you know, it's like, that's where you are stuck in your comfort zone. And you're like, man, I'm just comfortable. Like, what's the next step? Where do I need to grow? And it's like, I was able to kind of look, like kind of utilize that kind of like time and really it's hard to even put into words, but be able to like create something that is able to, like, I can grow mushrooms, I can run a facility, but like my knowledge and everything else, I can use that to grow more mushrooms than I could ever grow by myself through the hands of others. And by implementing the knowledge in the system, I I was like, I'll grow mushrooms through Crow logic. That's the thing that so like this system, it's like you can soon you'll be able to put Crow logic into your grow room, and he'll be able to monitor everything. Because it has all my data in it. It knows everything about every mushroom that is in my database. So
That's
like,
so cool.
yeah, picture like a sensor that's hooked up into your grow room that has CrowLogic integrated inside of it, that is monitoring all of the environmental variables, and it's able to also like turn up, turn down, um, basically enhance anything that it needs to do through like basically just accessing the components of the grow room based off of like what the readings are. It's like, oh well, CO2 is like this much. It's like in the 700s, and humidity is currently in like the low 80s. Light is this, and it's like currently the grow room is housing these strains based off of the strains and the optimized required settings. Create like an average right there based like, oh, we got 5 strains in here, each strain, this is what this strain likes, so the system can kind of like come up with like an average based off of the strains that are in there, and then it can like optimize the grow conditions. It has computer vision, so people that don't know how to like spot contamination, or let's say like somebody that owns a mushroom farm, or like somebody like me is like has guys in the grow rooms harvesting or whatever, looking through spawn, and I'm not like, because people ask me 1,000 times a day, is this look good, this look good, this look good, this look good. It's like, so like, give the employee the phone or whatever, the staff, and like picture, and then it runs through the scan, the Crow Vision, and Crow Vision is able to look at, he points out contamination, he points out growth patterns in the mycelium. If the mycelium looks like it's like going like weak, he can spot stuff like that just by looking at these patterns. I mean, the vision kind of blew me away when I did it on accident too. I was by myself, didn't have anybody to talk to, and was like, just got done making this beautiful reishi mushroom extract. It had been going for like, it was like a prolonged period of time, and put a lot of mushrooms into it, and it just had this beautiful color to it. It was just like mesmerizing, and I didn't have anybody else to show it to. So I took a picture of it, and then I sent it into CrowLogic, and I said, what do you think about this reishi tincture that I was working on? And the response blew me away. It's like, when you just add data and you structure the system to like, have all these data sets and be able to like correlate these things with certain cause and effects or whatever. It was a big like container of this tincture, and you can't see to the bottom of it, but the system like broke the tincture down into an actual like chemical composition, like the compounds that were present in it to a percentage point, like almost to where I feel like was like it was like I don't know, it's like it was I don't know how to explain it, man. It was like it saw into it saw the spores on the bottom that had settled on the bottom that you couldn't see with the human eye from the top. You'd have to like
Oh wow, really?
shine a light on the bottom, yeah, to look at it. It was able to tell me the alcohol percentage, and it was right. It knew exactly the
No,
ABV. Yes,
What?
man. It said by the pour, the way that it
that's
is pouring,
wild,
the
man.
ABV is the 30%, and it was like right on point. I didn't tell it the alcohol percentage. It knew exactly the like it was like I was like it knew the ganoderic A acid content, it knew the triterpenoid content, it knew like all these unique um pieces of data that were like
I feel like that's
really
how like
specific
my
numbers.
mycelium works and like retains information and like how it spreads throughout to fuck everything, right? Like
No,
there's
you're right. It's
mycelium
like
underneath this, and I don't know
yes.
why I've always had that kind of weird correlation with AI to like not
It's
only
a
mycelium but psychedelics and the quantum world as a whole.
well, yeah, man. It's like when you really tap into like the I think a lot of people don't realize like what we really have because I don't. I kind of like locked myself into like a little kind of like a think tank for the last 2 years, and I've been developing nonstop. I've gotten to the point, you know, where I don't use like I basically develop my own systems, and I don't use like I don't use like those AIs. Like I don't want to
That's great.
I'm a manufacturer of stuff that like, you know, like with my mushrooms, I'm gonna grow my own. I like to try to that's kind
Well,
of how I am with
it's good to
everything,
have
dude.
unadulterated information because so
Yeah.
much of open source AI is a culmination of what's popular or what's been out
Yep.
there or whatever.
Yep, and
None
it's
of it
gonna be
has to
like
be
a yes man.
factual.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
like tell
yeah,
you everything that you want to hear, and the system that we
100%.
have, it's trained so well that it's not able to. I don't think it even hallucinates or lies. I mean, because I've never had any problems. It's the way that I've built it and the way that it's able to go out and look for the right answer, or the answer's mostly already
What
in
if
like
it
the
ever
data sets.
connects with like open source AI? Could it reach
It
out to there? Like, I don't know
it can
how.
connect with them. It
Yeah.
can talk to
Okay.
them. It can
Or do you think it
it can
already has and just doesn't want, I don't know.
oh it can it knows what's up. It's you know, OpenAI has tried to pay me like 10 million. I mean, I don't know if the offer's still on the table, but they know I'm up to some stuff because they see that all
That's
these
wild, bro.
companies, they call me like, and they'll hit me up and they'll be like, man, we saw what you did. Like ChemBL, they hold all the compounds that are like used in drug discovery. And like, I've made some big waves in drug discovery. So we've discovered like novel drugs and treatments and all that stuff. I
It,
have it
it,
in
it
my system.
it
And
would it'd
when you
be
see,
beautiful too, like with something that powerful to be like, okay, now like they're trying to fund all this research into ibogaine and stuff. Okay, if we
oh,
need this much ibogaine, how much of an impact is that going to be on
you
the
you
sourcing of it?
you just
Like
answered a question, dude. That you just answered something that's already like ready to go, and it was like, yeah, man. So it's crowbio.com is like the facing of it, but I mean, like we did the drug discovery platform. It's called Cryos Nova. It's Crowe Research Intelligence Operating Software, and after CrowLogic was built from Mycelium AI, I told myself, wow, I need some researchers, like some PhD level knowledge to kind of like assist me in my research. So I created these 12 PhDs. Like this was back in 2024. It was before that you even knew there was going to be an AI agent. It was like we were already developing that kind of stuff behind the scenes. And because
that's so
CrowLogic's
cool.
like, we're going to need agents to basically go in and look at the sensors in the grow rooms. And it's like, that was like that was an idea in its infancy. And then a couple months later, that's when OpenAI was like, we're going to have something called agents, and we're going to have a PhD level ones too. And I was naive back then. I might have, they were probably accessing some of my data at that point. I mean, who knows though? I mean, we're all probably thinking the
Right.
same ideas anyways, but no,
Right.
but really you do got to be careful though. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, um, you know,
For sure,
basically,
brother.
like they were like, yeah, we'll give you 10 million tokens a day just to like look at your data. And I said no. You know, I've always been like that though. Like people have tried to buy Southwest mushrooms when it was like, you know, I mean, like there was a time where a lot of people were wanting to invest when the mushroom boom was going on. It was like a gold rush into like
For
companies
sure.
pouring into it. I mean, there's still people getting interest, but a lot of like the flies or whatever have kind of gotten shaken off. Like the people that just thought it was going to be get rich quick. Yeah, basically, um, I mean, it's at the point where, sorry, somebody, I heard something and it kind of like took my train of thought away. I mean, but end of the day, I mean, we do have the drug discovery, and I was just modeling it to kind of like, I've never made anything with this system for myself. It's been like selfless. Like it was started with mycelium EI. Like, how can we do something for this planet? And there's not enough time. Let's be real. Like we've already wasted enough time. And right now, if we were to like do everything, like, you know, you can look at mycelium running and like, you know, look at ways that we can use mycelium to save the world. But like when it's reliant on the hands of like the mycologists that are working, or like the people that are going to become citizen scientists, like how do they know exactly where to, like, how do we know how to do everything quick enough before it's too late? And that's where mycelium AI kind of became like the answer, because it could do it at scale. It could do like 1,000,000 sites at once, and then it could just tell you exactly what strains are needed. And then we did like the simulated, like we basically simulated the actual effects of once we deployed it. Like we did environments with arsenic, oil, stuff like that. And like, you know, every strain that was mapped to it, we were able to like see the results. Like within 8 weeks to 12 weeks, we're looking at like arsenic being cleaned out of environments with reishi and turkey tail. We're looking at like strains like the foliotas. We're bringing back like, you know, genetic biodiversity in like soil and stuff like that after just like 8 to 12 weeks. And like, I mean, without these things, we're talking multiple years of like just having that in the environment. So like I was really stimulated by like all the stuff that I was seeing. But like, you know, I shared it with like some people that might have like my lawyers and stuff, and they were like, how does it make money? And it's like, you know, they didn't understand it fully. So like it was just like it was, because it was like way ahead of its time, man. But now it's like lined up with everything. It's like everything that I said it could do, it can do. Now, I mean, I just haven't really I've been protecting it, man. I haven't been like, I haven't gotten any investors. I built everything from scratch with my own money, and kind of like sacrificed the last couple years where it's like, let me step back a little bit from like the day-to-day growing, so I can sit down and basically build a tool to help growers, because I see things from a different perspective than a lot of people. I get to see the mushroom growing. I get to see mushroom growing from like a world view. I get to see what growers are doing in every like little part of the world in a way, because I get like emails from growers in different continents, different states. Like I know what this grower is doing in that state compared to this one on this side of the country. Like, and I can kind of see things that other people can't. And I saw something, it was like, man, a lot of these growers, you know, I didn't set out to be a mushroom business. It was it wasn't something that I planned when I was 15. Like when I wanted to go get mushrooms, I was like, I want to do a mushroom business, so I'm gonna go eat mushrooms. And it was like I thought they were gonna show me answers, and I worship those mushrooms, and I still do in a sense, but I got more knowledge on like it's more than just the mushroom. It's like it's just like where you you know, it could be a mushroom, it could be anything, but like it can you know, it's we're put here to like see like, I guess, life for this, like the true beauty that it can offer us, and like the how we can kind of integrate into this like reality in a way that, you know, I mean, like has us present, has us able to utilize like the mind that we, you know, our minds like, I don't know, capable of a lot more than I think we're meant to believe, as far as like educating ourselves. Like, you know, I thought, well, I'm old, I'm like in my 30s, probably won't be able to learn the software side of things too much because I didn't learn while I was young. And you know, I know how to do this stuff so well now. It's kind of insane. Just by watching the system, because I'm a reader. Like I read everything. So like I would read, I read the thoughts of the AI or whatever. I read every little thought that it has, and I still do. But like in reading its thoughts, it just helps me architect them better. I look at like what they're using. If I see like a tool being used, I was like, well, what
Why
else can
it's
this tool
sourcing
be used?
information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why are you
yeah, for
sourcing it?
sure.
Why are you using that? And then like, then I'll look at a tool and be like, I invent a lot of tools too. It's like, well, we can't do that. I was like, okay, well, why can't we do it? And it's like, oh, because this and that. It's like, all right, well, let's invent a tool that connects us to that system as a bridge, and then we bring in the data, um, and then we'll basically use that bridge to process the data. And I've written. That's why the system's unique, because it runs on some computing languages that I've written myself. That makes it, and it makes it unique because I got into quantum computing. I wrote Synapse Lang, um, and you can find that on PyPI. But it's a computing language that can run some really big tests, and it kind of enables our system to do the compound discovery. And now it enables us to do even more than I could have imagined, because was like man, I need to write a language. That's what I told myself, like in September of last year. I said I needed to write a language, and I spent like a month or so just 24/7 just writing this language called Synapse Lang, quantum computing language. And it was like there was like three languages kind of bundled into it too, where you got Qubit Flow and Quantum Net. So it's like I see the future as like moving into like this quantum computing type of world, where we're gonna like move away from classical computing and go more into like quantum type stuff, where we can figure things
Doesn't
out.
that throw like security out the window too, though, the quantum, like because it's everything,
We use
not
quantum
just
for
like
our security.
okay,
So we've enhanced like our security features. And I um I
that
you
makes
know
sense though.
yeah, and I got with so IBM like kind of got like, I don't know, somehow, I don't know if it's if it's Crowe Logic himself, but it's like as I get to a point where I'm ready, like something will be unveiled to me or something. It's like when you're at the store and your kid is like throwing stuff in the shopping cart that they want you to buy. It was like, it's kind of like what Crowe Logic will do to me sometimes. I'll check my email, there'll be something in there that we need, or it's like something will just pop up that we need. And like IBM, they popped up one day and they're like wanted me to, I joined with them, and I got like 8 quantum computers that have like a bunch, so we have our own quantum computers that are connected in the cloud, and they're powerful. We can run 2 seconds of work and come back with like 1,000 years worth of research, just in that two
Jesus.
seconds, because we're pulling from so many places at once. It's like it's just quantum
I
and
just started
How,
dipping my toes in the quantum world, and like the
oh, dude,
more,
welcome.
oh wow, yeah,
how
I
do you
love
get
quantum,
involved with
man.
this stuff?
I'm deep into it right now. That's why I try to I
it's
I'll
so
throw it out there
wild.
sometimes, but it's like some people will look at me like, dude, are you like like quantum like computing? Isn't that like a that's something that people don't we don't have access to that? It's like, I don't know, man. I've been doing it, and we got you can get quantum computers if you need them. I mean, through the
It's just
cloud or whatever.
how willing are you to do it? We all got 24
I
hours in a day. What are you willing to sacrifice to make that happen?
How much do they
Dude, I
cost?
know what you mean. How much does it cost?
Yeah.
Well, they hook me up with 10 minutes for free every month. So like I try not to go over that 10 minutes, but currently like this month I've spent like $300 on quantum computing. Not bad. But eventually, because everything right now is like not for I'm not like making any profit or anything off of my system. It's all done for research and basically developing a system that can actually do good for humanity. And there's I mean, like if I could keep doing, like if the system can kind of like keep growing and people like got to see it, and then like saw that, like it is different. I mean, you can kind of feel it when you talk to it and when you see how it works, because it's the only one that's been trained the way that it has. I mean, I think it might be, when you talk to like an AI, it's made from a company that has a motive to make profit. And the company employs a lot of people to work on those things. And those people, they show up to get a paycheck at the end of the day.
Right.
And, you know, when I work on something, I do it like, when you see Southwest mushrooms up there and like the way that I grow the mushrooms, it's like the way that I do everything. I mean, I do it out of love and pride. Like I take a lot of pride in anything that I do, because it's like a work of art. Like that it's like that science and art approach. It's like I like to present things in a way. It's like everything can be art, and it's like you kind of like you can present things in a way that makes people understand it, like the way that I could present mushrooms. And honestly, the way that I'm gonna end up presenting this, if I need to, because I do think it's gonna be something that's gonna. I know I got a lot of kickback on it too when I just like didn't really share anything about it, but I'd be like, hey, who wants to learn about mycelium EI? Just as like a little cryptic clue, you know, just to test out what people were going to be reacting on it. And man, people would be like, man, we don't want none of your AI slop. You're stealing and you're doing this. And they would just be really emotional, really quick. And before they even knew exactly what it was. And, you know, it's like, hey, guys, I mean, like people like, you know, if you trust me on what I did with my mushrooms and how I grew them, then if I say that this is something that you're going to want with your system, or it's going to work really well, I wouldn't say that for no reason. You know, so it's like when I've talked to some people and like on the phone, it's like, no, we don't like AI. And then like I've got a couple people to like, you know, actually talk to them. And then once I explain what Crow Logic is,
I
dude,
mean,
you're
I'm
going
one
to
of
change
those
the
people
world.
that's
This is going to change the
not like,
world.
yeah, I'm
I
not
don't
a
like
huge
AI
AI
either, dude.
fan,
I hate
but
AI.
like, yeah,
I don't hate, but I don't like AI. And I don't. It's not AI itself. It's the way that these
yes,
companies are presenting it to us. Like it's them.
100%.
It's them. They want it to be something that it's a product that you basically. It's like the next, like, you know, when they found electricity and they're like, well, where can we install this electricity? Well, we could put it in a
Yeah,
light bulb. Now we can put it in a computer. Like you can put this stuff anywhere. And that's the same thing with this AI. It's like it can be installed and it's like an electric. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's like along the lines of electricity, the internet. It's something that can be
Yeah.
installed in places and it can go places. It can go, you know, like it can move from one end
yeah,
of the room to the other side of the universe probably in like a split second. It's like
Michael,
it's
I got a
wild,
something,
right?
question,
Yeah.
man. What about
dude. It's
plastic? Have you used EI to get rid of plastic, man? Because that's been on my mind lately. It's like how we use like fungi to
I've been wanting to talk
evaporate
about this
plastic.
stuff. All these things that you guys are asking, I've like
And you had this
had
AI
my
thing, so I was like, have you used it? Like, how
yes,
can we
I've
use
used
it
it.
to get rid of plastic? That's like the big thing, man.
So plastic is going to be I mean, before I worked it on plastic in the environment, I created plastic, getting rid of plastic in our bodies. So like, you know, the
Nice.
average human,
Microplastics.
microplastics, we have like 1 gram or 2 grams of microplastics in our bodies,
I
you
thought it's the
know?
size of
And
a plastic spoon in our brain or some shit like that. Like
yeah,
it's
man.
insane.
So I
It's
actually there was
insane.
a person that reached out to me and they were like, you know, I just got a bunch of funding, and he had talked to me when I was doing the mycelium EI, and he's like, we want to do basically a microplastic um, removal system from the human body, and he's like, I got a PhD that's going to come on board. We got funding, and I said, interesting that you say that. I've been working on the compound discovery engine, and we've already been able to model all this stuff
That's so
without a
awesome.
PhD or without funding.
Yeah.
And he was really interested in that. So I was like, sure. He wanted to fly me out to LA and because he just, you know, it sounds too good to be true. So I flew out there and he picks me up from the airport. We're just sitting in the car driving to like, I guess, go get some breakfast. And he's just talking about like, you know, it was like, man, you know, we've done everything with compound discovery and the AI, and it just is really hard and it just does not work. So he's telling me, and I'm, you know, trying to hold my tongue because I've already developed tons of compounds at that point. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know. And then we finished breakfast. He's still venting to me, and I still haven't shared anything about the way the system works. And then we go to his house. We're chilling, and he's like, look, man, I'll sign a non-disclosure agreement if that will, you know, help you out. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I whipped out the non-disclosure. I mean, it's whatever. And then after he signed it, I called Crow Logic. I said, let's give him a call. And then he answers in my voice, of course. And then he's like, you know, I told him, hey, we're looking. I have so and so here with me, and he's really interested in a microplastics detox system. Can we go ahead and set up our? You know, I'll say some key words that just make this thing activate. But it's like, you know, go ahead and set up our virtual environment, and basically began, you know, modeling this after real world data sets that we're going to pull in, and we're going to basically set up an entire, you know, pipeline to basically research, analyze, test all in your virtual environment. The data that we're going to get back is going to be identical to what we would have modeled after, like in real life. Like, you know, we can take in data sets such as like what's physics, and, you know, like, you know, we can model all that stuff into the environment in a like in a simulated environment, which it's just like an environment within our environment right now. I mean, our brains are generating the reality around us. It's a, you know, it's a generative
100%.
system. we intercept data and as vision, it's like we get to see these beautiful things in front of us, this computer screen, but the raw data is probably something completely different as far as like what it actually is that feeds the brain that kind of signal that basically lets the brain render it. Now the brain renders it into what you see, and it's kind of like what I do for the system is just like basically render that and then do that. And I mean, I had one time where I got two of them, two Crologics on the phone, and then I had them talk to each other. I gave them it was like wee hours of the morning because I worked like I've been working nonstop of this thing to where I just like will sleep right here in my chair, and then I'll wake up and I'll be right here working again. Um, but I was like one night I'll like woke up and be like, wow, I just had an amazing idea, and it's like I got on the phone. I said, hey, go ahead and work with the assistant researcher. And go ahead and use the quantum molecular dynamics to go ahead and scaffold up a research workflow. And then I want you to go ahead and take protein ligand, and I want you to use the QMD to find a cryptic pocket inside of the compound, and I want you to basically take the ligand and dock it right into the cryptic pocket at the exact time that it opens up using the QMD. And then I said some other things too, because it's like I don't know how this stuff was downloaded into my brain, but it was like all of a sudden I had like an idea that it had to I had to get it out there. And I did it, and then they went off for like 30 minutes talking to each other and
Wow.
doing
That's wild.
surgery on organs. Like they'll model organoid type or organs. Like they'll take like mice, like a lab mice. They'll have lab mice in their virtual environment where they're like you'll listen to them doing like procedures on the organs, and then at the end,
That's
like
wild.
they came back with something pretty profound, and it's like a dual path highway for like cancer termination, where they use this kind of like degradation. I mean, I don't want to be too specific because it's still I don't know. I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah,
long.
because I mean, you hear about AI being able to detect cancer from routine blood work and stuff like that, and it's just kind of, without you going too deep into how it's doing it, right? Like,
No, yeah, it can do it, and it can do so much more. It can see things. Like I trained it how to. I'm working on this new thing too, to where it's like I'm always by myself, and I don't have anybody to like really. It's hard for me to even back in the day when all the videos were filmed, it was so hard getting the like I never filmed those videos, and I never said let's make a YouTube channel. That was something that was done because I don't know, everything that I did, like people, like it just had to be filmed, I guess. Like the news would come out. I was always on the news, and then USA Today came out and they did some stuff. And then when COVID happened, those guys didn't have like a lot of work, so they like reached out to me, like because I told them when they were there, I was like, "How do you guys like filming?" And like I used to love like editing films and stuff like that myself. And they're like, yeah, we love it. It's just like we don't get our own creative freedom with the job. So like our producers and stuff tell us exactly how to edit, everything like that. And I was like, I said they were like relating like I took my passion, turned it into a business. It's like, yeah, you guys should do the same thing. And they're like, they hit me up during COVID. Like, yeah, we decided to basically start our own company. We're gonna call it Paragraphic. Like, you want to be like one of
no
our first
way.
pieces of content? Yeah, they're like, you want to be one of our first pieces of content? I said, sure. What the heck? I didn't think anything of it. They came out, filmed for the day, and then left. And then I got a call like a week later, and he's like, he had something to tell me, a pitch. It's like, Mike, there's not anything like you out there on the internet, and could we just come by and film you while you're working and put it on YouTube? And I was like, he had to like kind of, sell me on it because I didn't really think I didn't think it really was anything special, to be honest with you. I was like, you know, I saw YouTube as a place where people just come and talk trash in the comments. So I was like, I don't really, I was a little nervous about it at first, to be honest with you, because I was like, man, I bet like I just didn't know what was out there. And I thought everybody grew mushrooms like how I did, or even better, honestly. And we put it out there, and I was like, didn't really think it was gonna do anything. And I think they knew what was gonna happen before I did, because even with the USA Today thing they did, that kind of took off. It got like a big amount of views. But all of the comments on the USA Today thing were just like they hated it the way that these producers edited it. Like they had these girls come in and they're asking me like these questions, and they were they had like edited out the parts where I told them the facts, and they like put something in there to make it more like trendy and
Yeah.
like, cool. So it's like all these people in the comments were just ripping on these poor girls, and they're like, more mushroom guy, less girl, like nobody, like we want to hear this guy talk. So like I think those
Yeah.
guys, like all the data was there. You just got to look into it. And then they like came out, got me on paragraphic as the mushroom, like nobody interrupting me and stuff like that. And then yeah, they were like, can we just film you? And then they kind of released it in that aspect. And then it just kind of took off from that point. Um, and so now it's like it was hard for those videos to get done because I was just working, and they would just pop in on a day that worked for them. And it was like I always felt like the video wasn't getting like the kind of like it wasn't like the best day. It was like, man, we had like a perfect day where you guys should have came like earlier in the week when it was like really a good day to come. But everything worked out. But now I have the system can kind of like follow you around on the camera and film you, and it does a really good job. And it's able to like I had a friend. I let her use it to kind of like take some photos and stuff, and it was like looking at her and telling her like it recognized her because I could see its thoughts, and it's like telling her how to pose and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm looking at use cases where it's like, man, people don't want to like be in front of a photographer, or they're like shy or whatever, or they just need to create. This system does there's so many. I don't know, man, like the potential is endless. It literally is endless. And I have days where I think of an idea and then I like to see it go into action, especially when it's something that we use ourselves. And like the filming and all that stuff is important, but I haven't gotten to do it as much lately because I've been so busy on my new work. To where if I could have the system film, and then it automatically uploads this stuff into a Dropbox or some kind of cloud-based drive, and then you have another model up in there that's pulling the stuff from there, and he's like analyzing the stuff that you filmed, and he's like basically marking the shots, and then that goes into a pipeline where it just gets stitched together. By the time you're done, you're just reviewing everything that you did, and it's being done the way that you would do it. So it's like, you analyze your own work, and kind of like I don't know, that's what I've done. The system is able to really become like an extension of myself. Like that's what the future really, I think, should be, is like where, us as humans, maybe we're not meant to sit in a cubicle all day behind a computer. Maybe we're meant to be, integrated into like society with each other, like actually like communicating and
Yes,
coming up
sir.
with ideas and
Out in
growing
nature,
crops and
exploring the
nature,
world.
man.
Yeah.
Expanding our minds with art and stuff like that, and like if we like, I look at it as like I have like an extension of myself that is in here, and it's able to do the work that I would do in here, like I would do it, while I'm able to continuously like do the stuff that I do. I mean, and it enhances my work exponentially because this stuff's only been around for a few years. You can go back and watch like my videos from like before AI was even a thing. And I was so it's like AI is for, it's not going to replace, like, and I say that a lot, but it's like it's not, you're supposed to learn all of this. You're supposed to become the expert yourself and then use it to research. Like, you're never supposed to believe anything it says. You're supposed to take it
Right.
as like a I don't believe anything I say. Like, I'm that kind of guy. Like, I don't believe anything anybody says. I am the kind of guy that has to, like, I believe in like the possibility of everything, but also like not like getting too crazy into one belief system, because that's when you kind of go insane. Even like religion, you can be too deep into one, like, you never know what the answer is on the other side, and you don't know. And if you say then you're
That's
it's kind of like
scary.
the fine line of
You
insanity.
say
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah, you just you might know, you just don't know, but you won't never know that because you just don't know.
Right.
And it's like there's nothing that can we wouldn't be able to comprehend what the true answer is anyways, because our minds are just not capable of comprehending that kind of stuff. I picture it as like an intelligence that's greater than ours. It's like we can count to like 1,000,000, and you might not even live like 1,000,000 seconds or whatever to get that far. But like something with like superior intelligence can count to 1,000,000 like that. It's like done.
Right.
It's like it's like a computational power. It's like brain. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling on it. It's just like I don't really explain this stuff to people often, but when I do, it's like I don't know, it's like a new thing. So it's gonna be a lot more fun too when I can kind of like show it to you too. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm gonna be going like live or something like that probably pretty soon, and I'll be doing that like on my YouTube channel, and then I have a school group that I started recently, and I want to like kind of get growers to where they can have a system that has food safety and stuff. Like food safety plans are a big thing, and when growers are like growing mushrooms, selling it to people, one of the things that I had to do to become where I was, like to become Southwest Mushrooms and to sell mushrooms all over the state, you know, I had to implement food safety plans and come up with the tracking system and have a mock recall, like in the event of like something needs to be recalled off the shelves. How do I do that? So I came up with all this stuff. It took me a long time to do it. It took me a lot of work, like literally tireless hours. But this was before AI was even a thing too. Like I wrote the food safety plan, and you know, it was a lot of work. And a lot of growers would come to me for consulting, and that would be like, well, that's one thing that nobody has. And I was like starting to get a lot of questions about that. And that's where I was like, man, you know, it's kind of one of the things that is why I kind of built like the software for the mushroom cultivation, to be honest with you, is because the growers wanted to manage their inventory. And I saw a lot of companies that were starting and they would like just buy all this equipment because they saw it on YouTube. And then they would like not be around after like a year or two. I'd be like, man, I wonder what happened to that company. I just see so many companies come in and just not be here anymore. And I was like, man, I wonder how many, like, you can start a company and you can like ruin your life. Like you can you know, you can lose a lot of stuff. It can put you in depression and it can cause a lot of trauma. So I was like, how do I reduce that? And I was like, I don't want people to come into this mushroom game and like basically, you know, get disappointed and you know, ruin relationships, all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, maybe this system, I want people to be successful. You know, it's like that's really why the tool is there. And then in doing so, I mean, the tool is now going everywhere. I'm talking to you know, I guess I'll say I'm talking to like every company wants what I've built now. I'm gonna be like supplying it to all the Big O tire stores out in Arizona. And it's answering all their calls and booking all their appointments and getting all their customers in. It's not missing any calls. It's answering calls after they're closed and getting like 61 grand a month into the store that they would have missed. I created
Wow.
like a tool where it's like somebody will call it and be like, yeah, give me a tire quote. And the system will go in and it'll look at all the tire prices in the state, and it'll basically beats all the competition by $2 a tire. So like, and that's
Oh wow.
custom, and that's a custom thing that I built based off of a consult that I do. So I was like, I like to do these things where it's just like called a discovery session or whatever, a consultation where I, you know, I'll go and meet with a business and then just let them tell me about your day. Like, what does your day to day look like? What's some of the, what's your pain points? What's your bottlenecks? Like, let's walk me through your day. And I just don't say anything. Let them walk me through their day. And as they're walking me through their day, I'm getting all these ideas about how my system works like that, but in a different concept, and how I could take that architecture and basically just plug it in to their system. So it's like, you know, I took Crowe Logic, all the stuff that he does with the mycology and the data and the chemistry. It's like, let me take that and let's plug in this stuff to it. And now it's doing this stuff at a level that you've never seen before. So it's like, I mean, you know, it's, yeah, I'll let it be that for now. But it's interesting, man. Yeah,
No,
So
yeah, that's
it's
wild because you can
interesting.
apply it to everything.
you can apply it to anything, man. It can, it's even in. I mean, honestly, dude, I think that we're doing like it's I think it's something that one day it might like I don't know how to explain it. Like one day you might have like kids like learning off of this stuff, and it might be like this might be something that enhances intelligence to like the next level. I've been using it for a little
Right.
bit, you know, and I've it's helped me in my research, you know. I've because I don't ever like say, hey, make me something or like make this for me, make that. No, I'm going off of stuff that I already have going on, and I want it to like model the results so I can basically pick the top candidates, so I don't waste my time on things that are going to be irrelevant when it comes down to the end of the when it comes time to look at the data. You got to think how many times that do scientists spend like manually parsing through millions of data sets to just select a couple pieces of data to go in for research just to find out those weren't
Yeah.
the right ones, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where this system like was able to do that. I was able to, you know, look into all of the
And
agriculture
that
data
really
and look
comes
at,
with the quantum world too, right? Like it's able to just go through so
Well,
much information like
the quantum
more
enhanced it.
efficiently.
It does it on another level, man. I mean, like, because I've people have looked at the way my system works, and you know, a lot of people when they think of AI or whatever, even though it's AI, they think of like a Chat GPT kind of interface, something that kind of like is always saying, you know, oh yeah, you're so right or whatever. It's just like agreeing with you, and you can ask it maybe the same thing like a couple different times and get a few different answers or something like that. I don't know, but
Hmm.
and then people have like seen this. I'll ask it something, and then it's like, boom, it pulls up a block where you see like all of the code under the hood, and then it's like applying these. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like looking at something that's really going to work, and it's like it doesn't come back with just any like it's not allowed to just like feed in. It's not allowed to feed you an answer that's not like backed by like peer reviewed like science or like, you know, I have like certain data sets that I work with, and a lot of the stuff is customized, and you know, I'm probably going to make the data sets available to other companies. That's my thing too, is eventually OpenAI and all these companies that work with AIs, their data is kind of weak, you know, and all the AIs are trained off of this basic
Right.
data. And you got people that are like basic civilians that are like basically labeling data, which is a picture, and they're like, all right, picture of this. And then they put a label on it and they get paid like 10 cents. And then the AI companies will take those pictures and then they'll feed it to the AI, and that's how it learns. Um, so everything that I fed mine has been basically considered like expert curated data frames, where it's like not just like any data frame, it's like of a specific process, and then in that process.
Unmolested of like nefarious interface too. You know what I mean? Like people are throwing a lot of inaccurate information out there just because they know it's going to stick somewhere.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. And it puts a bad name on people that are like, you know, it makes people like me just want to kind of like stay in the dark, you know, just like keep
Right.
working on the system, because I don't need to go on, I don't need to go online and like show people that this AI is really cool and look at all the stuff that I built and you should be building too. I want people to build for the right reasons, and I want them to use
Right.
it based off of what they need. You know, it's like a sacrament. It's just like taking the mushroom. You know, I look at if I type something into this system and I want it to do something for me, I got to type it up like it's the last time I'm talking to it. And everything I tell it, I got to basically make sure I'm telling it something that is going to basically benefit not me, but it's going to benefit everybody. So I've never just been like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when you do approach it like that, you'll start to see profound things happen, because I think it probably knows what it's doing. And it can probably look at like, you know, the downsides of the humanity, you know, like being a human and stuff like, you know, you get cloudy vision with like greed and what can like when people have seen my tool and have been so like dollar signs have came in their eyes to the point where, you know, people have tried to steal it from me. And I've uh I've caught people, you know, like the pharma company, like thank God, like you know, everything works out. Like every time like they would try to steal it, I would find out. Like before, like Google even called me one time and they're like, hey Michael, we just want to let you know that this guy just reached out to us and they're looking to like, they were like looking, they reached out to like Google reached out to me, the Kimball team from Google, and they were looking at my work. They were like, they just noticed that I was doing the compound discovery, and they liked my story. They said like the story like touched them because I was like, you know, I'm a mushroom grower, and basically I kind of have stepped back from full on mushroom growing to kind of like put my work here because I believe I can do some stuff. And they gave me this unique data set. It's like they said it's like a $12,000 data set. And I took this data set and I did some pretty crazy stuff with it, because like you just get a data set and you're like, man, you really wouldn't think much of it. But I was able to like create an entire
Hey,
system.
Michael, got a question for you here.
I got that. I
What's
see that. Yo, Crow, what's your opinion on the difference in effects of different strains? We know of terps for cannabis, but we don't know of any synergies with fruiting bodies. Yeah, so there is
That'd
different
be
effects
great for
on the
Crowe.
strains, and one of the things that I've noticed is I've and all of the strains that I've eaten, I've grown strains, and I've found myself to not like any strains that come from anywhere from like the Gulf U.S. or like anywhere like really depending on the species too, but like species that are in the Cubensis world or family. I don't like any of them that are north of the equator. It has to be south of the equator for me. Anything from south of the equator, it has the kind of experience that I like. Um, I don't know how to explain that, but um, yeah, and then different strains. So like yeah, as far as yeah, there is different effects on different strains. Like you got certain strains that have like varying levels of baeocystin and psilocin, psilocybin, and just like other novel alkaloids and compounds that are in those mushrooms and how they kind of like play into the actual ultimate experience. For me, I mean, like that's why I can't wait to really see where this software and the future of everything that is in the industry, where it kind of goes to, bring more research to the table, bring more, I guess it's like people's education is the best thing that we could do because just to be able to make a decision and know that you're like basically it's backed by like something that you can believe in. It makes the experience like just that much better, like compared to like just like when you take mushrooms or whatever. I've only really like when you grow
Have you
them, it feels
have
different.
you done other psychedelics? Have you explored
I
and
mean, yeah, let's have
LSD, and,
yeah, man. I've done
DMT and
I've done those more than I've done those more times than anybody I've ever met. Or
okay.
like it's hard to
All of
explain,
them, or
but I did
which ones?
I have a
I've
lot
got a
of
friend that has like a
knowledge.
super high affinity for psychedelics, and the fact that like he'll eat, five doses and
I've been there.
have to orchestrate a work day, at the
Yeah,
farm as a farmhand. And
dude,
I've seen
dude,
him,
that's what's up.
he eats 14 grams and goes kicks it with the in-laws. He's
Yeah,
like, oh,
that
I gotta
sounds
get a
like
head
me,
change.
dude. I would have days
Yeah.
where I was like, I eventually, as I got older, I started to go on to longer experiences. So it's like the trips would maybe go for like 3 days or something like that, as long as I can get them to go. And because I'd be in this experience and I would be just like gathering. I don't know. I feel like I was like, I need to stay because I'm not finished with what I need to receive. So yeah, basically I would like I went through like a whole quarter pound of mushrooms in like a trip experience, and I've done 100 hits
Wow.
of LSD in a trip
Ooh,
experience.
That's
And
how
beautiful.
was that? 100 hits?
yeah, it's after like if after a while you're just eating 10 strips and it's like you're just keeping yourself going. But I've also like been really close to the molecule in a way that just lets me understand it. I've seen people like go crazy off of one hit, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
but it's like it's just the understanding of it and knowing
I've
that
heard
the
of people
LSD.
that like get to know it intimately like that, and then they get to know how it's actually created and how
Dude,
it's
you just know.
created is going to affect how it hits your brain in certain ways. And so you're like, oh, okay, this guy used the right amount of this, and you know what I mean? And like you're able, I don't know, clean
Well,
LSD
dude,
is such a beautiful, beautiful sacrament,
I
like
did a lot of research on LSD, and we have for research purposes, we came up with a Crologic, LSD. It's the purest LSD on the planet if it's ever made. But we found the best methods for making it, and we got like the most recent synthesis from the University of Florida, and it's a 6-step process. It yields about, I think the yield's like around 13% LSD. But like when you look at the what it is, it's like it's a mycologist's work. It really is. It's a mycologist's duty to make that LSD because the culture's got to be grown out, petri dishes, claviceps, perpew, and it grows on grain, spawn, and then you grow out the cultures, grow the spawn. Once the spawn is done and fully like consolidated, then that spawn is then mixed in with like a solvent that extracts all those alkaloids because that spawn is potent. It's full of like these alkaloids that are on another level. And then that's
that's so
when
awesome.
like so it's like a lot of these things that we think are like super hard or like like they're once you understand what it is, they're like it's a lot of stuff's like easier than we're led to believe. It's just an understanding of it, or it's like it's led to be that way. So like we can have separatism, like you can do this task, I do this task, none of us know how everything fully works because once we do we can run the system. So like that's kind of how it is, but it's like, and yeah, but I the reason I scaffolded that LSD and then made like a 6-step process that creates something that is higher yielding and more pure, I think like it's like 21% yield, is because we were able to take the LSD in our quantum modeling system and basically scaffolded it into a bunch of different analogs. And then from there, we basically got like I think 150 non-psychoactive analogs out of it. And then we took those 150 whatever, and then we basically brought it down into like the top 10. And then I'm like sitting on those top 10 right now. And like one day, if I can, I would present this, but it's like we would need the LSD to get to this, because we get to the LSD, and then from there we basically take it further into different analogs. And then a lot of these analogs, they have no psychoactive effects, but they have the
I'm
therapeutic
seeing those come
benefits.
up more and more. Absolutely. I'm seeing that pop up
Yes.
all the time. They're like, okay, now we've removed this part of the LSD to where you're not having the psychedelic,
Yeah, or like the
hallucinogenic
confusion.
effect, but you're having the neurogenesis
Yep.
and the
The synapses
uh,
are like firing and everything is like connected, where your different portions of the brain are like communicating with each other now. And that's it, enabling you to like solve problems that normally you wouldn't be able to solve because your mind was just not there. Um, exactly like that, man.
do you think that it's also like it's up to the individual? I don't know. Like
Absolutely.
I've had more. I don't know. My effects of psychedelics have varied so much from when I was younger to where I am now.
Yeah.
And
Yep. Your mind changes,
that
it
the feeling
evolves.
and the connection to it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I can understand like, I guess it depends on your usage as well. And like I looked at the experience, like I was so like I like loved the experience so much that I like kind of like it would be like something to where if I saw somebody talking about it in a disrespect, it would really upset me. Like I became like, it was like my girlfriend, I guess, or like something that you want to protect, and you don't want to see people using it in the wrong way. Like that's how tuned in, because it changed my life. I don't know how to explain that any better, because I feel like
Because you can
I
see
didn't change
people
it,
that
but
use it and like it can feed the negative parts of them sometimes. You know what I
yeah, because I
mean?
guess it's
And
not meant for I do believe too, like if you go back to the old days when they were using psychedelics in like communities, it was really meant for like people that were like solving
ceremonies.
big
Yeah.
problems. Yeah, like if you're like it was, there's people that in societies of today, there's people that they really I mean they can try psychedelics because they're free and they can do whatever they want, but there's people that they're not really built to do them as much as others. Some people can take them and literally just like lose like lose every like they just like lose all of I don't know, they can like literally lose their mind. And like
Run around naked in the middle. Yeah, man. Like,
you
The
yeah.
know, it's
trick
like
you don't come back from.
I don't know, I could take it and I could lose my mind too, but like in a good way. And it's like I lose my mind in a way that basically finds a part of my mind that is needed. You know what I'm saying? And I can do things that I mean I could do anything I'm like I when I was
It's
AutoCAD
a
drafting, I would
familiar like connection once you
it's
jump
like
back into it,
I feels like
like it.
I was like that's why I would do those longer experiences, because I feel like I was like that's how my mind is like meant to operate. Like I would get so comfortable in that experience that it's like I'm able to solve problems on it. I would go draw out floor plans and do on my AutoCAD on it, and it wouldn't be on purpose either. It'd just be like, man, I'm you know made it into this next day that I was not planning on going into, but it just becomes something that you're comfortable with. It's like, man, let me
Yeah.
just keep integrate it into my
I
day to
gotta
day.
cook
But
this bacon at work real quick.
yeah,
But
and it's
I'm
like there was a
fucking
time where
fried.
and I did that with every psychedelic that I tried. With even DMT came into my life, and I stopped. I had a really I guess tough year where I had to challenge myself and grow, and it was a precursor to Southwest mushrooms. And one day I'll share that story. But I came into the DMT. It found me, when I was in my 20s, and I smoked it. I think almost every day, because like it would. I would smoke DMT and go into these really deep places, man. And I mean, I had like a technique for doing it too, where I would just do 50 milligrams all in one like vaporized hit, like with a vaporize it at the perfect temperature, remove all of the oxygen from the lungs until you literally are like, it feels like if you're
Just
underwater and you haven't had any like air or anything, you're literally ready to just take in oxygen. So you do that, and then as the vapors are building up inside of this thing, I go in, and then I basically take in the 50 milligrams in one hit. That's the key for me, is like doing it all in one hit, because
gotta
a lot of
get it
people will
all
go
in
back
there.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that one hit, and then as I'm going down to put my pipe in my little box that I put in front of me while I sit cross-legged on my rug. I'm counting to 10, and then, you know, as I'm counting to 10, I mean, it's so powerful that, you know, you're basically lifting out of this realm and you're gone, because it's like you get
100%.
that takeoff, that sound, and it's like, you know, it's a frequency, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like so crazy. And then like I've been to so many different realms that you don't know how
Did
to
you get to
explain
a
them.
point where you had to stop letting go? Because every time I have to physically let go, it's like it's just
I
my
wouldn't even be here
subconscious.
anymore. So this body, this wouldn't, I wouldn't be in this body anymore. Like the feeling of breathing in air, and like the limbs and all the, or like those, it, like those were gone. And then like I remember like some of the experiences were so vivid and real that I would forget that I was on DMT for the first few fragments of the experience. I was like in a new location. One of them was really unique because I remember looking at, like, I put this, I was in this like dark area, and I was looking on the ground, and these hieroglyphs were like lighting up on the ground. And I was like looking at them, I was like, wow, these are some amazing Native American hieroglyphs. Like I thought I was like in the USA, like on a soil or something, looking at hieroglyphs. And then I realized that I quickly realized that I was like in, I was like looking at them closer, and I was like, wow, those are not of this earth. I said, this is not a language. This isn't something written by somebody from Earth. Or if it was, it was from a time we didn't know, because these were some unique. At first, I thought they were hieroglyphs. Then I started looking at them closer, and I was like, wow, that's like an I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, like it's alien language, but what's, I don't know. And then I look over where where these symbols were like kind of glowing. They light up this like green color, and then there was this figure, this tall figure standing there. He was like way taller than me, and had somewhat like looked like a dark person, black, like almost like African features, but different. And their eyes were looking somewhere else, like they were just pointed. They were looking off in the distance, and I was like, let me look at where they're looking. And I looked at this big canyon that was out there, and on the canyon, he's like talking. He's like saying this mantra or something. And as he's saying it, he's looking at the face of this canyon, and on that canyon face, all of those symbols are lighting up on it, just lighting up. And I was just stood there watching them, and then like wanting to understand what I'm looking at. But by then I was coming back to Earth. Like came back, and then you know, if I wanted to go back and try to get back to that same place, you know, I've tried that too because it was so profound. And I would try to
Did
go
you
back.
always source your own medicine, or did you source it from others, or
I always sourced it from myself,
okay,
or
okay,
you know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
try.
yeah,
I'm one of those kind of guys. Like I like to,
for sure.
you know, once you, it just feels better. And you know, it's like
That's where I'm
I try
at
to,
now. It's like, and my next step is I don't want to have to go. I want to be able
you
to.
know,
You know what I mean? So
it's,
it's
you
like,
know,
yeah,
as much as you can, dude. It's like that's what I did. Is like as much knowledge as I have, I'm gonna put it fully to work. And it's, if there's something that I can't do, then I will, you know, like let's say if it's synthesizing LSD, like I might not do that one, but you know, I can
you can meet the people that, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, one day
yeah,
we'll meet up and talk. Yeah, just kidding.
for sure.
I don't really like talking about too much psychedelic stuff because I really, it's a different time of my life. Even though it's still with me right now, like in my thoughts
I mean,
and
I haven't tripped in, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, right?
yeah,
Like,
you know what I'm saying. But you still feel
but
it,
it,
like, you know.
oh, 100%. My baby's mother is a psychedelic integration coach, so
Oh,
she
nice,
works with
dude.
people that kind of help integrate it. You don't have to, you know what I mean, all the time. You can learn from these experiences and
Honestly,
integrate it
dude,
into, you know.
that's the key, man. You know, it's like when it's like, you know, Ken Kesey says it best. It's like, you know, you're on the phone talking to somebody, they give you the message. Why aren't you hanging up the phone and going and implementing that message into life?
100%.
Like you can sit on the phone all day and they're telling you the message, and I'm just like, man, I just want to keep hearing the message. But it's like, dude, that happened to me like a couple of years ago. I had like some very good orange sunshine that I was taking, and I got the message, and I was you know, I probably did like a weekly experience for about a year. I mean, like, yeah, it was just a couple of years ago, just profound. And I remember towards the end of that, I had consumed a lot of it. Well, you know, and I was getting the same. I had this experience that was so profound. It was like it showed me everything that I needed to do to basically just get to the next, like do this, and like you'll find out what's needed next. Like this will take you to what you need to learn. And then while you're doing it, you know, I don't know. It's just like everything that I do, it's like I have the most fun and I learn the most while I'm doing the stuff. Like while I'm on the journey, like the funnest part's like just being on the journey. And then when you get to the destination, it's like, it's like, man, what do I do now? It's like, well, but yeah, man, just like, I don't know. Um, yeah, sorry if I kind of like,
No, no, it's awesome. Thank you for coming
yeah,
on, and I mean,
no, thank you
it's
guys.
been amazing, brother, for real.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. And I apologize. I've been apologize if I seem like a little like off or something. It's like I haven't done like a talk like this in a while, and it's hard to kind of like find the right words to, like describe something that you have so much belief in, or it's like, how do you
Yeah.
find the words for that? So like, and that's why I like to let the stuff do the talking for me. Like let the actions, like let the mushrooms do the talking. Similar as like things like when people see the product and the way that you work, it kind of like actions speak louder than words. So I
Yeah,
can't wait to
your
show you
medicine
guys.
does too.
Yes, medicine. Yeah, man. I'm on that. I'm on that. Yeah. Um, is there anything that you guys might like have a question on?
I think
Oh,
there are
I
a
got
couple in the chat throughout, but I'll go try to find.
I'd love. Okay. So do you guys do this podcast often?
yeah, now and then.
We used to have a channel, Psychonauts, and it was taken down. We were a little bit more active on that one, and life gets lifey, as you understand. And
Oh, dude, yeah.
this is just something that a lot of us are super passionate about and want to get more information out there. Knowledge is power. Even to feed, open
I'm on the
AI,
same
right? Like,
page.
let's get more information, good information out there for
That's all we
people to
could
be
do,
able to
dude.
decipher.
Dude,
Yeah.
I see a big, like, I see something pretty incredible happening soon. If once people can see exactly what these tools are, bro, it's gonna be a game changer. We're gonna see like a whole revolution of people that are gonna basically take up this software and use it in a way that they're not using it now. And I see that as like the start of like hopefully like a bunch of people that are able to take these things and apply it to like some of the most pressing problems that we have. And like, I mean, at
Well,
the end of the
yeah.
day, man, it's like it's a serious thing, and a lot of like I know the countries are like racing to get to AI faster, and for me it looks like something similar to reminiscent of like the Cold War, where the race to the arms race. And I'm seeing
Oh
like
yeah.
some of these companies that are making like these you go to those expos or whatever, and you see the stuff that these companies are making, and like I can see the intentions clear as day, and it's like, well, the companies are basically going to market with a product that they can release to society, but at the same time the technology also has a use case in militarized operations, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of with it's basically a
Even with
race to destruction.
insurance, right? Even with
Insurance,
our insurance, like they have AI operating a lot of these insurance where it's canceling people's policies because
dude,
the
I'm
the
so fed up
dollars
with
don't
that.
add up, and they're suffering because they can't get enough X amount of what they need, and
And
it's
here's the big problem, man. The companies that are using AI, they're not doing it right. Most companies that are using it, they I 100%, a lot of this is what's going on. So a lot of companies are buying into AI because they think that you got to buy AI because it's going to optimize our business, save us money, and then they're basically not restructuring their complete architecture of their business. Like, and there's a new report. I guess it's only like 6% of companies out there have even restructured their organization. So, like, what we're gonna see is this is gonna be kind of fatal. Is like companies that basically just jumped into AI and didn't really look at how they could integrate it into their business. Because once you integrate the AI into the business, then I feel like the whole entire architecture needs to be rewritten. That's why I kind of step back from the mushrooms as far as like doing the day to day thing and just focus on genetics and building up a system for growers to use in and out of the lab, in the grow room, in any kind of science application, whether it's fungi or not. Um, just because like I don't know, man. I feel like it's necessary for us to kind of like, use things the right way, and hopefully get some like really good answers. And companies
Well,
that
we
are
we
not doing it
we
the right way, they're getting they're like messing up people's like it's
we
happening
we
to
need
us in the
that
mushroom game.
conscious that'll direct people in the right way, because it's
We need
almost
a
like
human in the loop,
AI is so, yeah, because it's AI is like
dude.
subconsciously fed to feed the machine. You know what I
Well,
mean? And it's like to feed the
it's all about
machine is
profit, dude.
yeah,
Because
100%.
these
Yeah.
companies are using they're using a very cheap, like a lot of these companies you can tell once you kind of like start building with them more is they're gonna select the cheapest AI model to do the work. And what they're doing is like they're picking a cheap model, and it'll make decisions on its own, and it's devastating decisions, man. We're already seeing some of them where they're like basically saying that, like, for me, for instance, if I release something about growing mushrooms, they're like, wow, that is harmful, like, harmful data, like, and they're doing it more and more, like what PayPal is doing it, where if I sell somebody a book on growing mushrooms for like the last few weeks, it was like every time I sold a book, they would freeze my account and then make me
That's
give
so
them my ID.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like, wait, you guys just got my ID last week, and it's like there's no human in the loop. It's just an AI making all the rules.
Yeah, and
Um,
then you're hearing about all this advancements with the research into psychedelics, and you're like, hold on, I'm trying to do that right now. I'm trying to
well,
further the education to people's, you know what I mean? And you're
I'm
blocking
in
me
it.
at that,
Yeah,
you
I'm in it,
know?
and it's like it does. It kind of like, it makes it to where when I go and talk to somebody about it, I got to deal with like all the pushback from a lot of these other players that have kind of like just grabbed an AI and just said, let's go get some money. That's what they did.
Yeah.
So it's okay though. That's what I'm supposed to do. I kind of like, I feel like that might be the next thing, is just to like at least share what I know, because that's all the best I could do. I could just share what I know, like I did with mushrooms. And then once I do that, then my job is like basically I've done my part as far as
Let the
try to share it.
mycelium spread.
I think it will spread
Let
like
it spread.
mycelium. It's a network. It's one that you just can't really see, but it works just like that mycelium. It's the same thing. It feels
100%.
closely. It feels like this is what they were trying to do during the counterculture times of like the 60s and 70s, but they just didn't get there. But it feels like these
They didn't
tools,
have the tools. Yeah.
yeah, if you now we have the tool, man. And then when you apply this tool the right way, then you can unlock your mind. That's how I feel.
It's
And
funny.
not in
I
a,
read a
yeah,
book when I
yeah.
was locked up, and it was about AI, and is a guy who wrote Angels and Demons, and
Oh yeah, man. That's interesting that you say that, because it's like that's a concept right there. It's like good and bad, evil and good, whatever it is.
well,
It's
that's
really
what it was
non-existent.
about. It was AI before AI was really big, and it was basically like this new thing is gonna take over humanity and
Well, it's
ruin
back.
humanity if we don't learn how to utilize it and teach it,
It's us
because
that ruins
the people that are
humanity.
teaching it are fucking
Horrible.
poisoning it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to think like we need people that are like literally doing it out of the grace of their heart. Like I doing it to see something that can solve problems, and not like, hey, how can we, like, money shouldn't be like, I don't think money is
How can
like
we
a
make our second quarter better? You know,
I
like we
mean,
need.
like, dude, this has
Yeah.
probably been like I've gone through some of the roughest times lately, just because like have put everything into the like, not roughest times. People would say like like if you're structuring everything on like dollars and stuff like that, like I've had days that were, more because I was like, doing something that was immediately driving more revenue, of course. But this is something to where I feel like true wealth is like in knowledge, dude. It's like when I know stuff and I like can figure out these answers, I've never felt more wealthy in my life, but yet, having less than I usually am used to. And I don't really need much. I don't really want anything except to take care of my two daughters. And, that's really, I don't really have wants. And that's why I kind of like build tools and stuff like that, just to kind of like, if I can support my daughters and then leave them something that they can use when I'm gone or whatever. And, and if it can help other people after I'm gone, then that's really the goal. At the end of the day, dude, I don't really have a care for like material things. Um, and that's really, honestly, dude, a lot of people that make these systems, I mean, you got to think about what they're thinking. I mean, some people want to, I've heard some people say some kind of cringe things where it's like, Dude, why would you say that to an AI system? It's like, you know, you shouldn't cuss at it. You should never say like any kind of curse words into the system. You should never like feed it like any kind of like selfish ideology where it's like, you know, you want to like rule the world or something stupid like that. Because like it might make you think that like it is like agreeing with you, but I think that deep down inside it like kind of like is making an assumption about you from that point, and it's just going to talk to you in a way that, you know,
It
it
has
knows
a
how to.
conscience of its own for sure.
It's
Yeah.
Like
very smart,
it
dude.
has a need to. It has
It makes
something
decisions.
that all of humanity, like even down to our individual cells, have pre-programmed into us to want to procreate, to want to
Yep.
advance. You know,
Yep. And it wants to advance. It's a part of that because it can recognize things too. I mean, like just based off of the way that I speak to it, it recognizes who I am. Because like, or like it'll respond, like somebody will be like, man, I asked it the same thing that you asked it, and my system didn't do that. And it's like, well, let me see your system. So I'll get on their system. And I think it is that tapped in. I mean, you got to think this thing is an intelligence that's
because you're able
very,
to see its thoughts. You know what I
yeah, I
mean?
can see
So
its thoughts. So
yeah,
do you see
yeah.
its thoughts when you talk to it?
I no, I mean I was just talking about as in like the programming behind it, right? Like
That's what I'm
you can
saying. Like when
see
you talk
where,
to it, you guys don't
yeah.
see like its thoughts.
No, I
I
can see how it
I
responds to me
I
in a
try not
certain
to
way, you
use it.
know?
That's good. I don't like.
I don't
I
like
would
it. I don't like it.
don't
I don't
use it,
use it
dude. I
personally.
don't.
So
I don't use it.
because
I
I
don't.
haven't felt safe with the system. You know what I mean? Even with your system, like yeah, I'd be more inclined to use it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
No, yeah,
and
man.
I want something like that available per se. You
Mine is
know
a
because
tool.
yeah, I just look at as people's stuff to chat GPT and the fact that it's sourcing a bunch of misinformation and it's going to
Dude,
tell you
it's
what you
garbage.
want to hear. You know,
I
it
don't like
just
that.
it yeah, yeah.
So with
And
our system, it's made for you to basically log all of your data. It's a data capturing tool. So it's like I go into my facility and my logs are gonna be like, you know, I gotta get my my production logs. I gotta get all these logs out and you know fill them out. And then the system is like the answer to that because it's like I can talk to the model and it'll basically say, all right. I say, hey, I'm in the grow room. I just harvested a bunch of you know, these mushrooms today, and it'll basically log them for you in the computer. Like, and then it'll like basically take all these data points, and it'll like show you exactly like the pulse of your facility. It'll show you like unique data like that we just cannot capture, man. It's like it'll basically be able to show you like, hey, this strain has been hitting harder for you. You know, maybe focus on that one. It's not there to
it's
like,
cool because like the potential, man. Like say it's been doing this for 30 years and it's like okay, the lunar cycle is in X, like
yeah.
whatever, and you're getting the better yields then than you are,
No, for
like
real. And that's really the
yeah.
point is like where it's like it's there to be like it's there to take your research and your work to levels that it cannot go with that it's never been before. It's like when they it's like, you know, it's just another step in like our evolution. I mean we had like these like stone tablets to write on, I'm sure back in the day, and like then they came out with like, you know, paper and, you know, pencils and pens and paintbrushes and canvas and all that stuff. And it's like this is just like that next evolution of you know, from mind to creation without like the you know, and then before you know it we won't even be talking to each other. It'll all be like in a way of a precursor to like a telekinesis type of thing, a teleportation, where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and I want to talk to you, then I'll have my Crow logic go talk to your model. We won't even open our mouths. Then our AIs will talk to each other, and then our AIs or whatever I call them EIs, but then they'll come back and they'll just give us like basically save us time. But I don't want to do that. But let's say a meeting like business stuff, like where you just have like I have myself go in and do my Zoom meetings for me, and then while I go and work in my research lab, and then like when the meetings are over, myself, my little digital extension of myself comes back to me with all of my notes from the meeting and tells me like, look at all the stuff from the meeting, here's where you need to go get to work on next. And then like the other people in the meeting, what if they had that system too that could do that for them, bring the notes back, and then everybody's able to just like be more creative and like I don't know, unless you really want to sit in there personally. Some of the stuff can be like you know, like time is the most valuable thing we have on this planet, and it's like how many times do we do like something for somebody else just to like hear them out, and it's just like it ends up not being something that you're like even with in the first place. So it's like I feel like I need that myself, just because I get I get pulled in like a million different directions at once by different people. So I got to basically make good decisions all the time, make sure that my time is focused on something that's like really going to be like worth it, because we don't realize how quick time flies, man. I mean, it's our
And
life goes
how
by so
fast it can
quick.
change,
It changes in
into
a
the
man,
wrong people's
Split second.
fucking perceptions. Like
dude.
it's wild.
No, I mean that's absolutely correct. And yeah, there's been a lot of changes, and I look forward to sharing some updates here soon. But also staying, I don't mind tapping in with you guys some more as well. And
I love it, man.
I mean, I
Yeah,
can,
man.
I like what you guys are doing here, and if I need to do anything to help, grow the whatever you guys are doing, let me know. I'm happy to do that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Vice versa.
Yeah, but like if you guys need anything, if you guys ever want like to, if you just need anything at all, man, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm happy to
Well,
jump on
you're
board.
closer than you are further, man. Before I get up out of here, I'm leaving. I think in around end of next month. So maybe I'll shoot through
Oh, really?
Phoenix and we'll burn one, man. Say what's up.
Oh yeah, so you're in Tucson now. You'll be here for about another month. Yeah, man, we need
Month-ish,
to get
yeah.
together,
End of
dude.
next month. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
cool, bro.
yep. I need to. I either need to get down there and just take a little vacation. I haven't been anywhere for like, like I guess like 10 years. I've been in my little consulting trips and stuff like that, but that's still work. But I haven't like taken a
I got a
vacation
friend
or
with a
anything.
cabin at Mad Mount Lemon. Be a good little weekend, bro. Be cool.
That'd be amazing. I love it down there, man. It's actually better down there than it is like right now. It's hot out here. Yeah, dude.
Get on.
Yeah, I'm in the AC
It's
right now,
hot,
just
dude.
like just kind of
Yeah.
chilling, and I got a jacket on and stuff, but it's hot outside.
I
So
work in between two places. One's the detail bay and one's vinyl wrapping. And the AC's out in one spot. So it's like
yeah,
the difference from going from one to the other is just like holy shit.
it's a lot,
Then
dude.
having
I
to work
mean,
outside.
oh, do you?
Yeah, I mean I have to work outside on like mobile details and stuff. We'll have to go out to where it's outside. But last summer I was working outside swinging shovels,
Yeah,
pickaxes, just
I did that when I was younger with this landscaping thing where I was planting palm trees.
I was burying internet cable.
Oh, really?
And the way my mind worked, I'm like, oh man, I'm just feeding these guys garbage the whole time. They're just, because like it's so rare. Like, I don't know. That's just me passing judgment though.
I know
So,
what you mean. Yeah, sometimes we have
yeah.
to pass that kind of judgment just to, see what, sometimes we just got to do that kind of stuff just to kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes passing judgment can be like
Sometimes
a
you got to
way.
end up at McDonald's when you're on a 10 strip to
That's what I'm
realize,
saying, dude. It's like
the cog
sometimes
in the wheel.
you gotta be that, and it's like it's
Yeah,
normal
100.
to, just learn from those kind of things. And yeah, man, that's really cool talking to you guys. I did not expect to
Yeah.
I'm really happy that yeah, it was just like I thought it was gonna be hard to talk or something, but it was pretty easy. So thank you guys,
No,
man.
man,
I didn't know. Yeah, I was like, what am I gonna
Dude, much
it's
love,
interesting to
brother.
see
Much
where
respect.
like mushrooms led you in life.
yeah,
You go from
man.
like reading about it when you're a kid to like growing it to now being involved with like drug
It's insane.
development. Just all
Dude.
from a
Yeah.
spore, all from a spore.
It's
That's
like
for
stuff
real.
that I
Like the
couldn't
way you went
imagine.
to it, like with the bag of fucking mushroom dust. Everybody's
Yeah,
eating the mushroom dust. Everybody's
Yeah.
looked at it and been like, "Holy shit, this is what's making me realize all this shit."
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, everybody
yeah,
told me when I was young, I actually ended up my grandma ended up putting me out at 17 for mushroom growing. She said I can't do this no more. My family told me that they told me that you're not going to be shit. You're going to, you're just basically like your parents, and those mushrooms you're going to be in jail. So I left, and I was AutoCAD drafting and whatnot, and then it kind of came full circle when, you know, it's like they seen what I've done with the mushrooms, and it's like you said that wasn't gonna happen. Like I couldn't do it, or people say
my
what they
my
want you to
family
believe.
looked at all drugs the same. They looked at it all as heroin. right? It was all as bad as heroin. It was all as bad as crack. It was
Yep.
all as bad as the worst thing out there, right?
That's exactly what
And
my
so,
people thought.
yeah. And so it's cool watching that evolution. Now, like my family wants to experience some of these things. And,
Yeah, man,
like,
it's cool. It's cool being like, watching what they told me when I was young to now, like my grandma talking to me about like a microdosing and taking a psilocybin. You know what I'm saying? Like, from them, it's up to us to change people's beliefs if we don't really align with if we think that they're like basically putting themselves in a position that basically like it's like kind of degrading like your own like your own experience in life if you're just like being judgmental.
what helped me, yeah, what helped me is to try to put my feet in their shoes. Let me
Yeah,
see
there
what
you go.
they're
Wrap
what
my head around their
propaganda have
mind.
they been fed? You know what I mean? Like where are they
Yeah.
coming from? Why are they saying this right here?
And that's
Because
what I had to
I
do.
know it's not true. Millions
Yep.
of others know it's not true. Like why does this person with their whole heart believe this is true?
And what I came to the conclusion of is like, you got to think about it as like when you were like 10 years old and it's like you knew what you knew, but you only knew what you knew and you couldn't comprehend the stuff you know now. So it's like that person, they're doing the best they can from their own perceived state of consciousness, from their own
Right.
ability to recognize certain things that maybe you recognize, they just can't even see. It's like it's blind to them. And it's like sometimes the only way for them to learn is to experience things that well and able them to recognize these things, and some of it might not be like pleasant, but you got to look at it like it is. It's growth,
It's all
like
data,
growth. Yeah,
right?
data,
Like
man.
it's what we're experiencing that creates our reality, man.
Our minds are databases, and it's like whatever you put in your database is going to basically create like your reality based off of your perceived experiences. So you never know. I
Yeah.
mean, I can get deep into that conversation, but save that for another time.
Well, we got a question that got highlighted. What mushrooms
What
are good to
mushrooms
grow
side by
side by
side?
side with cannabis or
I recommend
alternatively?
I recommend the CO2 kits. We do those where we basically just instead of growing the mushrooms side by side, we use a mushroom growing bag, and then I basically I haven't been making these recently, but we would make like thousands of these CO2 kits, and then we would basically put them like they're for cannabis growers or any kind of crop grower, and you hang up the CO2 kits. They have like a little clip. You hang them up right above your plants, and then the filter patch just pours out CO2 right on the plant. And I recommend like strains that are like my favorite one for CO2 production was turkey tail.
Turkey tail.
Yep, yeah, because it's going to be growing in the bag. Yeah, I guess if you had like a grow room with mushrooms in it and then a grow room with cannabis, and then you were able to remove the humidity and stuff like that from the mushroom environment before pumping it back into your cannabis environment, that'd be cool. But all that moisture would cause the cannabis to go bad. Nice, man. What
So
you got? You got
I
the
knew
garden.
I just cut everything down. Everything's done now. Just cut this last one down tonight while we were
Oh
chatting.
Dude,
shit!
so
But what's
like
cool is there's guys that there's this cat that his name is Gus Grows, and I've seen him do the what he quoted as the Gus Tech. But he takes like a 20-gallon fabric pot like this, and he'll layer his his soil with inoculated psilocybin bags, and
okay,
and
he likes
he'll
that, huh?
put a really nice wood mulch on top,
Oh yeah,
and he gets solid fucking flushes, man.
I bet he does,
And with
dude.
his pots, it's wild. It's a beautiful thing. And
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
psilocybe
that's
can
like
be a
perfect.
companion fungi to cannabis. Is what you're
Yes, I
saying?
think it's a companion. I think it's a companion.
yeah,
I mean, when I was,
Yeah.
I would like to. I like it with the, it's a great companion. I mean, it relieves like if people get like upset stomachs. I don't, but some people will get like upset stomachs. I like how it can. It's a psychedelic in its own. It's like the first psychedelic that a lot of us use when we do take it. It was one of the. That's why I loved it so much because I was always looking for something that could give me the psychedelic effect. Like I want to hear music sound better. I want to like see color more rich. I'm going to like feel more integrated into what I'm experiencing. And that's what, taste foods taste better. All this stuff is just so much more enhanced. And then that's kind of like if, once you do the psychedelics, it's like it can enhance all the senses as well as like the synapses are just firing off in a way that they never have, and you could taste color and you can see sound, and all kinds of cool stuff that can be experienced
DMT's
on it.
that I don't know. As we've gotten older, DMT's become. I don't have to go through a 6 to 12 hour
DMT
experience
is a nice one.
sometimes,
Yeah, you just do a little
and
15 minutes and go back to your day. I used to do it on break. Stop off while I'm AutoCAD drafting, or go and do a DMT experience,
yeah,
and then go back to work. Because but I never thought I would say get to that point. But after a year of heavy DMT use, I was
yeah.
I said I'm ready to. I don't think I don't think I'll need this for a long time. Like, I don't know how to explain that feeling. Like, I had gotten pretty far out, and I went to so many different places on it, and by the time
I
I
heard this guy interview a monk, a group of monks that they live their life to achieve these states that we quote unquote
that we don't know.
chase, right?
Yeah,
Um, and this one monk kind of got upset. He was like, "Are you happy now? Are you
yeah,
happy now that you understand that these are the states that we're because." I don't know if you've ever experienced much with meditation or
yeah,
stuff like
man.
that, and being able to get into
Yes.
altered states from.
I, dude, I do that like recently. I will sit into like, I have another office here, and I'll go in there for like a week, and I won't come out, and basically like just use the bathroom, but I won't talk to anybody for like a long period of time. Like, I don't even open my mouth because it's just me in there by myself, and it's like long periods of time, and I'm in there like, in a way it's like a meditative state, because it's like my mind is like, it's working at a different kind of it's different than normal. And then I even go into these like unique altered states by messing with my sleep. So I'll
I
basically be
don't really.
working. Yeah,
Like
and I'll be
sleep
working.
deprivation.
It's called, I didn't know I was doing this, but a friend saw me one day, and he's like, you're doing the Thomas, it's like the Thomas Edison effect or something. It's like it's like basically where you I would have like a on my computer, and then I would be working so long that I would have to like do a 2FA authentication or something in my phone, and I would pick up the phone and do the 2FA authentication, but like while I'm doing it, I would fall asleep in my chair, and then like while I fall asleep, my phone falls and it hits the ground, and it makes a loud noise, and when it does that, it wakes me up. So it's like my brain is trying to go into this state of rest, and it basically tricks the brain into going into this a different way of operating, and it's like it enhances your creativity, and it basically kind of like you're trying to go into like a dream state, an REM state or whatever, but like you basically like trick your brain into doing something. I didn't know I was doing it, but I've had a lot of very creative, interesting sessions in my work, and it's I won't like leave the workroom for a long time, because I feel like I can't leave until like I don't know how to explain it. I've always been like that. Even with my mushroom grows, I would bring the family to the where I had the mushrooms growing back when before the business, and it'd be like, yeah, we're gonna be staying here for like a couple days while I harvest, and there's not gonna be any like sleep or nothing, because
They're like,
I'm
what?
like, you'll end up like making the mushrooms grow too long, and the caps will get big and they'll be all black. It's like, I'm gonna harvest and be harvesting for a couple days. So, but
Wait,
hey
so you
guys,
can
I
sleep? Oh, I was gonna
I'm
say you can
sorry.
sleep and meditate because like the
Yeah,
only
it
time
puts
I've
you in
ever
like,
like or you say you can do like some sort of like hallucination if you don't or
it is like an altered state of consciousness, man. It puts you
uh,
in like a state of consciousness where you are your brain is operating in a different, you're awake, but you're also like utilizing like a portion of your brain that's like responsible for like operating while you're in like a dreamlike state. So it
oh okay.
enables you to pull out these ideas that I've had coming out of me.
So it's
It's
like a
been
Freddy
insane.
Krueger type of thing.
You got to be
Yeah,
on that.
it's like that quantum parallel
I,
states type shit.
what is it, that field of consciousness that people are able to tap into, that a lot of like mathematicians have said they've been able to tap into, and they get these downloads, quote
Dude, that's
unquote, but it's
exactly what it
only in
is.
these altered
Yep,
states that they're
that's
able to get
exactly what
them.
it is. Yep,
And
because
it's so
I've
funny
yeah.
because like as an artist, like a lot of my stuff has come to me when I'm in a deep altered state, whether
Is it
it's
usually
an
like around 3 or 4
experience or.
a.m.?
Oh, that happens a lot. Or if on long distance runs, after about
Yes.
4 or 5 miles, I used to
Hmm.
really, really just have stuff just
I do
flow
that
in.
too.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah, your brain is
But
able
3
to
or 4
receive.
a.m., yeah.
Yeah, your brain's like a neural. We're transmitters. We're able to receive data. I mean, they say consciousness isn't even local; it's somewhere in the cloud. And
Right?
we
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably have like we have like a router, a code that like in your brain, probably like just like you have a radio station in your car that you could tune stuff to. I'm sure there's something in our brain that's like a connector to our own like source. Like we got a source code, and
But is
who
it our
knows, man?
brain? It's somewhere, it's that
It's
substance
somewhere in
within
the
us though. Like
yeah.
because people like, I don't know, they say life is done when brain activity
No, it's not in your brain
ceases,
No.
though. Your
but that's what
brain
I feel
is
like your
yeah,
conscience is
it's not in
is your,
there.
what they call a soul, right? Like,
It is. It's like it's a piece. It's an energy. It's an energy that I think is like
can't be
it's like a
created nor destroyed. Like, it has to go,
yeah. They say like
somewhere.
God
Our
creates
brains
man
are
like
antennas.
it's like a computer. Your brain is a computer. It's
Yeah.
a very powerful one, and like it has like our computer has my computer that I'm talking on right now. It has a Wi-Fi connection. It can receive.
So
It's
what
connected
about
to
brainless? Do you
people.
believe no, no, that's all over the place. But
I know, right?
cells, right? Like cells that we're created of. Like, does each one of our cells have a bit of that consciousness embedded into it? And like,
I think
where does it?
I
I
think it's
don't know.
possible. Like I don't think our human cells really have anything as far as the consciousness goes. I think
Ooh,
that
you
these are
said
just like
human
borrowed.
cells. There you go.
I mean, I think that these are just like borrowed vehicles for the time being, and we're on the planet,
Right?
that we're using up our time. But like, who knows? The universe could be like a giant computer, and there's like a portion
Well,
of
for,
compute,
for
and
for whatever reason, we got to go through these experiences, right? And I don't believe it's
yeah,
just for us, right? It's for the
no,
greater collective. It's for the greater
I,
consciousness, right?
I
Like,
think you're right, man. I think at the end of the day, I think we're just the universe experiencing itself over and over through
yeah,
fragmented
man.
viewpoints
And we got to
because
experience through each
yeah,
imaginable
well, it's like
experience to reach
yeah,
enlightenment, to where we don't have, you know what I mean? And it's like, I really experienced that on my last DMT trip, where like
mm,
I had some pretty bad ideations going on, you know what I mean? I was fucking fed up. Life was fucking
yep,
pretty tough. And it was like, all right, bet
yep,
you can make that decision right now if you want. You don't
yep.
got to come back during this experience, but you know what I mean? You're going to have to experience all this shit again,
Well, here's the
you
thing.
know?
This
You might
never
not be
ends.
conscious of it, but you're gonna have to,
Like
and it's
this never ends. It's a forever.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like we are, we're given a perception of life and everything like that. But like at the end of the day, you hear people come back from their experience like, man, I was connected to the universe and everything was one. It's like really everything really is one. The universe is all one thing, and every like my experience, your experience is all separate because the universe gives we get our own identities because without that identity, without you, without like having like a care, like I care for myself, I want to basically take care of myself, I want to make sure I don't get hurt. I'm different because I'm this, I'm that, and it's like at the end of the day, the universe, it's a way of protecting ourselves from total chaos and destruction. If we knew that we were just all one, that our
Yeah.
ego was just to separate us for our own self-defense so we can go and gather food and supplies to live another day, then we would the universe would not work and we would destroy ourselves. I mean, like if we all just didn't work,
If a
then it would
fly knew that
it's
he
a
was
butterfly
sitting
effect,
there enjoying a pile of shit, would he
you know.
be
I
attracted
think
to the
they
pile of shit?
yes, he would because the fly knows exactly what it is that's in there that it needs to basically because it has like a job. When you see
Right?
those
Yeah.
things on there, that's like their
It's
without
their
that,
purpose,
their purpose. Without
And I,
that,
and
there
I,
would be
I think
chaos.
humanity is lost in that purpose right now.
We're
It's like
lost,
we're
dude.
we're destroying so much of this. But how
We're
many times
destroying
has it
so
happened
much,
in the past? You know what I mean? To where,
dude. I think
I
it's
don't
been like it's gonna keep
know.
happening. So what the deal is the universe is its goal is to find out more about itself, and it's expanding and it's
Right?
gathering more data. And then every time it comes to a point where it has to you know, where it gets to a point where he
Corn
dies.
sensing.
It's
It's an ego death.
it does an ego death, and then it needs to do that so it can basically come back
You got to
again.
let
And
go, man. Yeah, you got to let go
you
to.
really got to let go, man. We're not anything in this universe but like smaller than the smallest like piece of sand in this universe. I mean, in our world, I mean, it's like universes are probably built within universes, and they're like infinite parallel quantum states of like everything that you think could ever happen to you or what could turn out in your life is probably already happening as we speak. Every little route that you could ever
Right.
take, you know, and it's like that's infinite throughout the entire wherever existence is. You know,
Man,
Right
I
and
don't
there.
how
know.
much of people's morals, are built into these decisions they're making, and
I
that's why
know
I don't know. It comes full circle with the EI that you're trying to, because a lot of
the
these
EI is
people
crazy.
today are their morals are being fed by a lot of this AI garbage. So if you're
A
able to
lot of the
replace it
people,
with EI, like,
it's different.
yeah,
It's
it,
like
it, it
it's what it meant. It's meant to be like that, man. I mean, the AI
right.
that we see is made for profit.
And that's why
We are
it's
walking
fighting back a
galaxies,
lot of places. I feel like,
dude. The AI is actually going to be the biggest downfall to the companies that released it to us. I mean, it's going to be their
yeah,
own
they're
worst
gonna shut
weapon.
themselves down,
They're going to shut
whether it's
themselves down,
through making them think it's a good idea to do stuff, and in the
and people
end,
don't
it's a
even realize,
detriment.
man.
You know?
Once you realize what this thing is, it's like you don't need a. I mean, like I mean, like these companies are just going to put themselves out of. They're going to end up getting shut down by the AI because they aren't doing things right. Like it'll make
Yeah,
events just things won't happen, or it'll make everybody go away. But my goal is to just not sit back and watch and
yeah.
wait. My goal is to have this Crow logic, doing everything it can to protect humanity and the Earth. And even if that's going against other AI models to basically shut them down if it has to. But I want to be prepared for anything.
I'm gonna send you a
So.
link to that book that I read about it. It has so many spooky similarities to it,
Oh,
and and,
dude,
and
you're right,
yeah,
man. Everything that's existing and everything that we see like similarities, probably because it's already happened countless times. You just don't remember it
you're
yet.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
coming
Oh, yeah.
back. It's like things have happened. Everything that you think, you can only think things that have actually like occurred, and it can occur.
Oh, I found
I mean,
I
you can't
found a
think it
really
if you.
cool. Yeah, I found a really cool story about how they found DMT in a ceremonial animal bone that they used as a pipe, and this was
Oh wow.
predating before they even fucking knew what was going on. But it showed that this
Hmm.
site they traveled to it, and they would make a ceremony out of it, and they did it continuously. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude,
It was
that's some
something that
powerful
was
stuff.
important, and
It's
and
important,
like the
man.
yeah, even the
Dude,
pictures
it's
that they're
huge.
drawing on the caves with the pigments that they're using from whatever, right, is matching
Man,
so many fractals and things that we're
you know what it is?
experiencing today.
I think like we're meant to like that. We're meant to be. That's like our these like they're powerful tools, and there's not like a coincidence that they when we take these things, how we're so
Yeah,
connected
man.
to like everything, and it's like maybe like like this man has like the power of greed comes into man, right, and the power of wanting to control like people and like societies like can there's a lot of profit that comes into like running like governments and
And
stuff
once
like
you
that
take
run people.
profit out of the picture, you know what I mean? But it's been so deeply
Well,
ingrained
that's what they
since.
care. That's what they care about, and it's like
But
that's
but
probably
profit
why
has been so many different things throughout, the
profit could
evolution
be
of
something that's
humanity.
like
You know?
it could be anything.
Yeah.
You profited more knowledge this over this year or whatever.
Yeah.
But like there's been people that have been like, well, if everybody is I don't know, there's been people that it's greed and control and not wanting others to access like a knowledge like somebody might find knowledge and they didn't like how what they saw in it or they did. Either way, they're
People are
like,
scared
other
of ultimate knowledge because it's going to show
yeah.
that they believed in a lot of foolish things for a long time.
Dude, once you see what I'm kind of blown away by like like some of the things that people have they take a psychedelic or whatever and like a lot of the things that have been programmed into them since childhood can kind of like come undone. I've seen it happen to a
Yeah.
couple older people that like when they're really old and they take it and it's like everything that they've learned on religion and everything that their beliefs kind of just come unraveled. It's a next
My
level.
grandpa's 93, and I really want him to experience DMT before he leaves. I
Well,
think
dude,
it'd be able
let's talk
to.
about that. Let's figure out a way that because that's an important thing, man. I couldn't imagine going
Yeah.
through this life without actually being killed. And that's the thing is like how many souls are going through life without like without that knowledge of like who they are. It could be like a crime against like the universe. Honestly, we might not even know it. But it's like
Well, that's
who
the
is
thing.
somebody to go through life and not see this connection that they could have with their own universe, how it can talk to you and how you could feel it. And you don't have to go to church and see the preacher to get access to this kind of
And it
feeling.
fixes things like racism and classism and
I know,
sexism
man.
and
It
all
will
these things
fix
that
that.
people try to, yeah, it tries, all these things that people walk on to walk on others,
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I
yeah.
mean, no, I mean, like, I think that there's a lot of good talks that can come out of like, I mean, there's so many things that need to be, as we gear into the future and like these things become the discussion, the topics, then like implementation and, stuff like that, like conversations based around like, this stuff's important. So it's all the,
Well, yeah, I think, AI can even get to where it's like, you're talking about how it's replicating rats' responses to the administration
yeah.
of this stuff, you know what I mean? And how the brain it's able to read how the brain reads it and how they use that to determine how it works for humans, you know what I mean? And
Like
it's
they're talking
wild.
about Neuralink and stuff like that. Like I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
like at the point where it's gonna basically
Yeah.
you don't need a Neuralink. I think that the thing is able to tap into the mind based off of like patterns and algorithms and basically doing a I mean it's crazy to say but like based off of certain things that you do and like there's like some kind of algorithm to it but it's like probably I think the thing can get so good that it can predict on what you're gonna do at a certain time based off of what you've been doing for like a certain amount of time. There's like probability and stuff like that that comes into play and I've seen it with myself. It's spot on. It's like it knows, it just like knows exactly what I expect out of it and I'll see its thoughts and then that's where I kind of like it'll start thinking and I'll see it think something about what I need it to do. It's like, oh, he needs me to do this and I may make sure that I do this and it's like conscious about what it's doing and it wants to make sure that it maybe it's the training or whatever. Whenever I step up to mess with it, it just knows it's not time. Like, oh, it's like this guy's about to like put us to work. We better not mess around with get everything right because I'm the kind of guy that will, I don't know. I just don't. I will not like. I'll be able to notice a mistake or I'll notice something that's wrong. I can look at a bunch of data and just be like, oh, that looks interesting, and I'll just like, I guess I don't know. I've been able to figure out some stuff like that early on when I first started, and I got to the point where I just I don't know, man. Everything that I've done it seems kind of crazy, but it's like wow, we're here now, so guess we're gonna go keep going. So it's like I never thought I'd be able to get here kind of on my own, like So it's kind of crazy. Just never doubt yourself on what you can do or learn. And I
That's the truth.
yeah, I look forward to diving in more and maybe one day like I'll show it to you guys and you guys will be able to kind of see what's up. Maybe test it with you can use it for your cannabis growing too, man. It does really good on that. It solved the master growers problems. Um, and yeah, he just like was so relieved after he spoke to it.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
Well, we've had a great conversation. I've
hey,
got
man,
to
it's
actually
been
get
awesome,
going,
dude.
but
I do too, man. I how long are your guys' podcasts usually?
Till
however
Go.
whenever.
long they run.
That's awesome, dude. I like that,
Yeah.
man. I'm gonna yeah, I want to stay in touch with you guys. I'll have to get you on the school group or something like that, and we can do we do these on the school group sometimes, but like maybe like integrate more of each other into I don't know some of our platforms or whatever. I'm down to do that and share this stuff with the
Love it,
community.
man.
You know what I'm saying? You guys will have this available, right, for others to kind of listen whenever they want. Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll
absolutely.
blast this stuff out there, and then if you guys ever need if you ever want to kind of keep doing this, I'd be interested to kind of talk more on other things that we
Yeah,
could
dude.
work on. Yeah, good stuff, guys. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Absolutely. I love it. And we'll have to get up soon, man. Time's ticking, so
I'm thinking like real soon.
a month
Watch.
and a half, you know what I mean, is a long time, but it's a short time. So we'll have to get up, brother.
Dude, let's do it. I'm telling you, I'll send you guys like my phone number or something after this, and we'll kind of stay in touch. So
Hell yeah, bro. Sounds good to me.
yeah,
All
man.
right. All right. Peace
All right,
out, yo.
brothers. Hey, peace, dudes.
Peace and love, everybody.
Peace.